Hello and welcome to episode 58 of In PS We Trust, a PlayStation podcast. My name's Davey, and joined with me, as always, is Santa's little helper himself, Spencer Davis.
I think you'll find me. I'm Santa himself. You're the little helper today with your little elf hat, bro. I'm Santa.
I know.
That's the way it
I know,
is.
I'm a little Christmas elf today. I thought that, I've been throwing out that you're like the sexy elf or whatever in recent episodes, but I thought today I wouldn't mind being a little elf. And I'll tell you what is quite cool, is this hat, right? £2.50 from Asda, absolute bargain.
Bargain.
But if I'm getting angry about something, look at this. It just stays up, bro. It just goes for days. It's too big to even fit.
Was it made of paper?
On screen. Yeah, it's like £2.50. I don't know what it's made of. It's made of just childhood dreams, I think. There's nothing much to it. I'll tell you that, mate.
Childhood
It's flimsy
dreams.
as hell. Look at this. I look like alfalfa. Do you ever see the Misfits as a kid? I look like that. Oh, there you go. Well, it's
Probably not the
normal.
Misfits you're thinking of. No, I saw the show. Very good.
Oh, yeah, that's good. That's good. Oh, they were called Little Rascals, actually. It's called Little Rascals.
No
Did you ever see
idea.
that?
No.
Had a dog with like drawn on glasses. Anyway, we're derailing this. Ladies and gentlemen, you have joined In PS We Trust, and we are a PlayStation podcast, and it is our Christmas episode. So we want to first off say Merry Christmas to you and yours. This is going to be a gift for you. You're going to be unwrapping this present with us, and it's going to be something that you're going to treasure. You're going to put on top of the mantle with the roaring fire there, and you're going to think, God damn, that was the best 2 odd hours or however long we go in your entire life.
And audience, as an added present to you, we have finally kicked Phil off the show.
Yay!
Yay!
He's gone! Woo!
Let's go! Gonna be livid listening to that.
He is going to be livid. And the thing about it is that we're going to have one episode where we're not going to hear any complaining about PlayStation Extra or about PlayStation Stars or anything that is actually good about PlayStation. We won't hear any arguments for, which would be actually quite surreal. And the reason is Phil hasn't been kicked off. He's not dead. He's just on holiday. So he's away sunning himself in America, living the high life, sending us pictures where he's drinking, some kind of cocktail by the pool. And it's pissed us off, if anything, that we've got to wade through snow. We've had like -7 degrees. It's been fucking Baltic over here ever since he left. Maybe, without realizing it, Phil was the sunshine that the UK needed. And now he's gone, we've been plunged into eternal darkness. Who knows? But we're going to put that sunshine back in your life,
That's
listener.
great.
Because we're going to be cracking some Christmas crackers all over this joint today. So, Spencer, expect
that's
a
what
lot of
we're
these
doing,
puns
yeah.
today. Expect a lot. Expect a lot of these. Spencer, we always start the show with a question. And the question today, keeping it on the Christmas theme,
Okay.
I want to know, what is the best present you've ever had at Christmas, but also the worst present you've ever received?
Okay.
So
I
give you a
know.
bit of sweet, bit of bad, like a bit of honey, a bit of vinegar.
Bit of naughty,
Kick off
bit
the
of
show
nice.
today. Bit of naughty, bit of nice. Oh, I like it.
Yes, mate.
These puns are going to be going strong today.
Okay.
Fill me in.
All right, so for the best present, I'll start with best, because the worst one, I was such a spoiled little brat. But the best present, by far, my PS2 that I got when I was a wee lad. Easily. That PS2, I saw a lot. That PS2, I wasn't a popular kid, didn't go out much, and by the time I got a PS2, I just stayed inside, played Kingdom Hearts 2, I played Tekken, I played Guilty Gear, I played GTA San Andreas a lot, never beated more than 3 missions, because you're just running around using a jetpack cheap flying about. And that present, I remember my nan bought it for me. It was like my nan and my mum like splurged together and bought me a PS2, and that was easily the best present I probably ever had.
So, how old were you when you got your PS2?
Well, Mr. Google.
Because it came out in 2000, I think.
Oh, if you know, you know. I mean, we should know. If
I
anyone should know when the PS2 came out, it should be us.
I'm pretty sure it's 2000. It might be 2000. Yeah, I put money on it. I'm not going to pay you. I mean, Google it, but I'm pretty sure it was 2000.
Do you know what date?
I think this has been a big quiz episode at some point. A big quiz question.
It'd be a
I think
question
it
I
came
would
out
ask.
I think it came out, and I'm gonna go for. I think I would guess November, and I think I got it wrong. So I'm gonna guess September.
I'd say you're extremely close, but wrong month. It's October, 26th of October, 2000.
Got the year.
So,
got the year.
Got the year, bang on. But I was probably 4 or 5, so I must have got it in 2002, 2003. Probably the Christmas of 02, of the Christmas just before 03. So
when it was in its prime, then.
Yeah, when I had games galore. I was playing Ratchet, Sly Cooper. Oof, I love Sly Cooper. Oh, baby.
Nice. Oh, nice.
Great games.
Nice.
Oh, great games. Before I get to my worst, would you like to say your best? We'll do kind of a 1-to-1 to 1-to-1.
Sure, let's go for it. Well, weirdly enough, my favorite present I ever received is, again, the PlayStation 2, which I had for Christmas. How wild's that? Now, I know I got mine in 2001. I'm 99% sure I did. You might want to fact check me on this one, because it might have been 2002 as well. But I had with it, how's this for an absolute wombo combo, right? I had GTA 3.
Huge.
And I had Metal Gear Solid 2.
Oh.
Those were my 2 games. Like Metal Gear Solid 2, you do not understand how hyped I was. I'd already settled on MGS1 being a life-changing experience. And so when number 2 came out, and there was a demo that came with Zone of the Enders, right? And it was wild. It was actually amazing. I think everyone bought Zone of the Enders just for that demo, to be honest. So when the game actually came out, I was so excited. But I didn't touch it for 4 months because I was just picking up hookers in the back of my car in GTA 3. And that was like a life-changing experience, GTA 3. It was just wild.
Yeah.
And then when I eventually, in like the spring, got round to playing MGS2, I was like, oh, what the fuck have I done with my life? Like, why wasn't I playing this? But the excitement on my face, man, when I unwrapped it, and it's a PS2, and I knew what that possibility brought. Because I'd been playing a PS2 at like the youth center. They had GTA 3 there for like kids who went to the youth center who were like, I don't know, between the ages of 8 and 15. GTA 3 there. Like, what were they thinking? It was a different time. It was the Wild West back then. Just chuck kids on anything. No one gave a shit.
I think you'll find, mate, is that time continued because I went to a youth centre also from ages of like, I think it was ages from like 7 to similar to what you were saying, probably like 18. It's actually quite wide. But they had PS2, they had PS3. By the ends, they had PS4. I would always play on the Wii. And they had GTA, they had Call of Duty, they had FIFA, they had all that. And my copy, how I got into Smash, is from that youth centre. My copy of Smash Bros. Brawl, I stole from that youth centre. But
you stole it from all the other kids.
No one played it but me. No one. I was the only. No one even went on the Wii. I was the only one who played that game. And then I went there and I said, "Is it okay if I borrow it?" And they were like, "Yeah, just give it back in like a few weeks." I was like, "Okay, I have it. I have it. It's downstairs in the cabinet."
You scumbag. You scumbag. I bet there was some poor kid who always wanted to play it, right? But was too scared to come up because you were always sweating it, right? You were like destroying everyone on it. So everyone's like, no, we don't want to play it anymore. And there's just one kid who's like, oh, he's not turned up today. I can't wait to play Smash. And they're like, where is it? He's taking it home. The boss, the end boss, has got it. You got to go beat him to get it back. He's like, no, my only chance.
I'd like that
scumbag.
To be true. I wish that to be true. That's not. Well, he didn't. If he was too scared to play me, he didn't deserve the game. That's the way it goes. You didn't deserve it.
Fair enough.
Maybe.
Fair enough.
He asked for it for Christmas, and he got it then.
Yeah, maybe that was his happiest moment of his
That's
Christmas
his favorite
time.
present ever. His Smash 4 because of for months he was dreaming.
Yeah, because he just wanted to play one time and you wouldn't let him because he wasn't as good as a level 9. Get back, you scrub! Yeah, back in the queue. Jesus Christ! So, what's your worst present you ever received?
Okay, my worst present probably isn't actually my worst present because my nan used to kind of just get a massive like bag, like just a massive kind of Christmas present bag. and all my entire family is girls, and then me. So they would all more or less, there's like 4 girls and then me, and they would all basically have the exact same bag. They'd all have the exact same presents, and that's just the way it was. And then she didn't know what to get me, so I had like Football Liverpool Annual 2001. I had WWE Annual 2001. I had PS2 demo discs, which, to be fair, fantastic present. Demo discs went so hard.
Great present.
They were exceptional. She gave me like those magazines.
Amazing
And she'd
present.
like, because she knew I liked PS2, she'd buy each magazine like through the year and then give them all to me at Christmas.
What? That's a sick present to
That's
have.
sick, innit? Yeah, that's sick. But what I'm saying is that's the big thing. But then everything else would just be like, oh, he likes wrestling, doesn't he? Oh, he likes that. I didn't really. Obviously, as we know,
Well,
as the listeners know,
We can tell if you studied that bloody yearbook thing, that annual, you might not be in the situation where you didn't know who Stone Cold Steve Austin was.
Yeah, it's true. But as much as they were shit presents, they weren't my worst. And my worst present, hands down, because it's the one that stuck with me because I was such a little brat, was I got a VHS of Scooby-Doo. And I love Scooby-Doo. You'd think, great present. I already had it. So when I opened it, I was just like, Mum's like, say thank you. I'm like, I have this. So say thank you. I'm like, but I already have it. And obviously I'm like, what, 3 or 4. So I haven't learned gratefulness. I haven't learned to be nice and polite. So I was just like, I already have this. And I was just fuming. I was like, I want a different present. I want something else. And that's the one that stuck in my mind. Because really, I should have just been like, oh, thank you. And then you chuck it to the side and no one cares. But I was like, I don't want this. I was such a spoiled little brat. So that's why it's not the worst present because it's the worst present. It's the worst present because of how I acted when I received it.
Oh, so you kind of you feel bad for it.
Yeah,
you feel like
it
the
was a
regret
learning
stings.
experience. Yeah.
Well, fair play to you, mind. You know, I can't remember anything from that far back. You know, from like, you know, the ages of, I don't think I can remember anything before, I don't know, 10. I can't remember fuck all. I think like my earliest childhood memory is probably MGS1. Like, I really cannot remember fuck all from back then at all. And it could be that, you know, it's a lot further back for me.
I was going to say, yeah, it's like 48 years, bro.
33,
Phil's
man.
gone now.
33.
Phil's gone, mate. Phil's
I
gone.
know.
So
Now
it's gotta
I'm
be
the
you.
oldest. So I know how this feels now. I'm not going to pick. That's going to be my New Year's resolution. I'm not going to mention Phil's age in the new year. Until he's back on next episode. Now all my pent up anger is just going to be released on him. Yeah. I really can't remember fuck all from then. Really can't. Like literally nothing. But fair play. I mean, at least there's a little bit of a redemption story in there. You feel for it. You know, it's not actually that bad. My present is actually the worst thing I've ever received. And it's thanks to Phil. I'm throwing shade on him. He's not here to defend himself, but I'm throwing shade. Right? There was time when we were like, well, when I was 18 and Phil was like, I don't know, 39, we had we used to buy presents for each other for Christmas, and they were never great presents. They were always quite cheap. We'd say like keep it under 20 quid or something. And so it'd be random stuff. So I think like one year I bought him just rave shades, which were just shades that just lit up. And I bought him something like beer glasses that were glasses that you'd put into your beer and then it would like
straws.
go through there into a straw.
Yeah.
It was like all bollocks, right? All bollocks stuff. But at the time, we'd been playing quite a lot of Pro Evolution Soccer. And we were enjoying Pro Evo, right? It was good for the time when Pro Evo was like at its biggest, right? Yeah, and it is now eFootball. So back then it was Pro Evo, and I don't know what year this would be. I don't know, maybe 2010, something like that. And we were playing the fuck out of it. And then for Christmas, right, he gets me Pro Evo 06. So 4 years back, the 4 years back Pro Evo, which I already owned, which still had the sticker on it, saying he bought it for £1.50 from like the game bargain bin. And he was like, "Happy Christmas, mate." And I remember just looking at him and just being like, when am I ever going to play this? Like literally ever. Like there's not even a moment I'll put it into my PlayStation ever. because I've already got it. I played it when I was like 10, and now I got it again. And it was like the platinum version, so it wasn't even like nice looking. It was like a shit cover on it.
Oh, it's got that silver
And it's
border.
Yeah, like the one that's like, oh, he's a little bit of a cheapskate, or he got here late, right? He's late to the party. It's the platinum version. So it was like that, with the price still on it, and the case was fucked. There was like all like where glue had been stuck all over it. It was like, you know, all those black bits, you know, it's like stuck all over. It was terrible. It was just one of those presents that I couldn't even hide my disgust. And I think especially that year, I'd gone out of my way to get something actually good. Can't remember what it is now. And I just remember just looking at it, opening up, and like the instructions were tattered. It was just a complete mess. And suffice to say, it's down there somewhere. In fact, it's probably up with all the rest of my PS3 games or whatever, just in some locker somewhere, or PS2 games somewhere around the house that I'll never find ever again in my life. And to be honest, I don't want to find it, because the present just angers me to an irrational level. But yeah, terrible. It's one of those things that I know he obviously went to the shop. He's like, look, mate, I've already spent all the money I was supposed to get him a present with on pints. I got £1.50. What can I get? And they're like, right, you got a choice between Ty the Tiger. Do you remember that game? Or you got this random Pez game. He loves Pez. I'll get him Pez. It's like, thanks a lot, mate. Thanks a lot. I spent the full 20 quid on you. And I still harbour these ill will feelings to this day. But this is supposed to be a time of merriment, a time of joy. So let's bring it back on to something a little bit nicer. Spencer, what are you drinking today?
Right, well, after that rant, I chose not to interrupt you through all that. I wanted you to get all of it out. I felt like you needed that.
Thank you. I feel quite cathartic, that was.
Yeah, I hope in a few years' time on Christmas you give it back to him. That'd be awesome. But
I need to find it.
Yeah. For me, obviously, we have, well, today, listeners, we've delayed the show quite a bit, and there's a reason we'll discuss later, and you'll find out why. So instead of a Friday, we're recording on a Tuesday. So we've delayed quite a lot, but with good reason, with fairly good reason, and you'll find out why. So because of that, I have work in the early AM, and I probably would still have a beverage if I had any. However, I don't. So I am on the Orange Crush, what was it? Sparkling with real fruit juice 0. So it's orangeade.
Ooh.
Orangeade, no added sugar. Probably like 38p from Asda. There we are. Nice, yeah.
There it is. The classic. The classic.
Yeah.
Nice stuff, yeah. How would you rate it compared to like a Fanta, like a named brand?
Hold on, hang on. Taste test.
Taste test it, yeah.
It's good. I think it's actually really nice. I think it loses to Fanta. Obviously, I think it's better than Tango.
Is it?
It loses to Fanta. Yeah, Tango's too orangey.
Ooh.
Whereas Fanta's a bit more sparkling. It's more bubbly. Tango's more orangey. It's a bit too powerful, I think.
Fanta's more fake, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
fruit
but
doesn't
makes
taste
it
like
better.
Fanta.
No, but it makes it better, I think. That's the thing. Nothing that's real, nothing that's good for you is good. It's the way of life. Other than a banana. Bananas bang. But
Banana's
it's
good.
a way
Top
of
tier
life.
fruit.
And I think this Orange Crush, second on the tier list. I mean, Fanta, Orange, then Crush, Tango. And I'm sure there's some other knockoff. Orange, Tesco's maybe.
Some other brands.
I'm sure Tesco's is trash. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I remember having one long on the podcast, actually, a couple of episodes ago. I was having knockoff Lilt, which was Aldi's own Lilt in little cans. And that was good. You know, my wife said it tasted like shit, but I enjoyed it. And the thing is, a 0 cal beverage, which you got there, good for the waistline this time of year. It's a time of merriment. It's a time of eating to excess. You got to rein it in a little bit, don't you? You got to rein it in. And speaking of reining it in, I don't have to, because I'm off for work now till after Christmas. Woohoo! So I'm on the Reds, baby. I got 5 up here with me already, and the danger, there's a little bit of danger with this. As I was carrying up the stairs, I dropped one. I don't know which one it is.
Which one? So one's gonna pop.
One of them's probably going to go off, right? So just putting that out there now, I'm hoping that if I leave it long enough before I need these beverages, that it won't happen on the show. But if it does, then it's not been a setup. It's just happened, right? But just warning you that we could have it could be a hot and sweaty episode. It could get a bit wet and wild, this one. We'll have to see where we go with it. But on that revelation, on that impending doom that's about to come my way, let's snow this over.
Nah. No.
Didn't work.
Horrendous.
Yeah, let's just move it on, shall we, to what we've been playing?
This time on NPS We Trust, what have the boys been playing?
So, it's been 2 weeks since the last podcast episode, and Spencer, I'm desperate to know what you've been up to in that time. Enlighten me, like Rudolph's nose. I'm not very good at these Christmas
Think of
puns,
that
mate.
on the spot. That was
Yeah.
good. I like that one.
You liked it, did you?
I like that one. Yeah, that was better than Snow It Over. that was pretty good. I like that one. So, what have I been playing? Obviously, Call of Duty, Dead by Daylight, but we won't discuss those. Talks about it way too much. I would say the game I've been playing, I've been ignoring it a lot, like a lot, too much. And last night, I was about to play Smash. I was sat down. I was in Discord about to play, and during conversation, whilst I was waiting for them to boot, I just went, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not going to play Smash. I don't want to play Smash. I should be doing something else. And I just went, I'm off, boys. And they were like, all right, see you later. I was like, sound. See you in a bit. Went off and I booted God of War Ragnarok, the game, the phenomenal game that I've been neglecting for far too long. I said on this show that I loved it and it was looking like it was going straight towards a 10 out of 10. And then I just never played it again for some stupid, ungodly reason. Now, I am about 18 hours into the game, and I'm not going to put in specifics. I'm not going to say where I am, what I've done, because what I've just done right now, the part I've just finished, massive spoilers, huge spoilers. So there's no way I can say it. Obviously, we'll talk a bit off it. But, game's sick. Game's phenomenal. Game's actually so goated. I don't know why I keep stepping away from it, putting it down, and taking ages to pick it back up, because the game blows me away every time I eventually boot it up. Phenomenal.
Do you think it could be something like, I don't know, something just in you that you don't want it to end kind of thing? I mean, I know that you got something where sometimes you struggle with playing single player games, and I'm sure I'm not helping, because like every other night I'm like, COD, Dead by Daylight, you know, whatever it is that I'm going on, because I've already played my games that I've been playing. So for me, I'm just looking to have these multiplayer experiences. Do you think it's more so my fault that I'm kind of waylaying you, or do you think there's some kind of reason that you're unintentionally savoring the experience?
I don't think so. I think it's more my underlying issue of I just struggle to play games. I don't know what it is, but I like competitive games and I like multiplayer. Well, I like Smash. That's what it is. I like Super Smash Bros. Every time I'm playing a game I should be playing, I think, oh, I could just play some Smash instead. It's my comfort game. It's a game that I go to when I want to play something. That's the way it is. But with God of War, I know with God of War 2018, I did the same thing I'm doing now, where I took about 2 weeks off of it, and then I sat down and said, I need to beat this game. And I think that's probably part of the reason why I ended up not enjoying it as much as everyone else. I did still enjoy it. I thought it was a great game. But everyone else was like, oh, it's phenomenal, game of the year for sure. And I was like, really? I don't think it is. I thought it was great. Didn't think it'd be game of the year. Granted, I'm not sure if it had a lot of competition. But I came away from it not enjoying it as much as everyone else. And God of War Ragnarok, it's the opposite. I keep doing the same thing of taking breaks. However, it's sick. It's a near perfect game so far. Very much a near perfect game. There are like small things that kind of irk me, small things that bug me. But you get that with every single game you ever play. There has never been a perfect game other than Last of Us. And even then, Last of Us does have faults. It does. It's my favorite game. It has issues. Not big ones. Not many. Story's definitely not one. Great game. Sick game. Oh,
all right. Pull it back.
Pull it back.
So, do you think you'll be able to beat it before the end of the year, Or do you think it's going to be something that we'll end up doing a spoiler cast sometime kind of like late Jan?
Depends how much I see my girlfriend. Because if she comes down and bothers me for like during my days off, then it's ropes. I can't play it. And I typically don't like playing games when my girlfriend's down, because I think we should do stuff together. And games is kind of like, I'm kind of ignoring her if I do that. I don't like doing that. I mean, sometimes I maybe get an hour in. Maybe like, go play Sims. Go play with a dog. Do something else. If she's pissing me off. But for the most part, I try not to play games. And if she's coming down a lot over this Christmas period, then yeah, chances are I'm not going to get it done. I'm still going to put an active effort every day after work to put in at least a few hours. I'm going to try get home, play it until I go bed. And that's the way it is, because I'm loving the game. That's what I did the other night, and I loved it. You get a good chunk of time. You get like 3 or 4 hours of gameplay. That's enough. If you're only playing for like half hour a day, that's not enough. You're not going to enjoy the game. If you're playing for like 12 hours straight, you're not going to enjoy the game. It's kind of like the perfect amount. And I'm going to try stick to that. However, because it's the Christmas period and I'm going to be having days off, girlfriends want to come down. And that's going to be... It's going to be nice. It will be nice. It sounds like I don't think it will. It will be nice.
Lovely. It'd be lovely.
But in my head, I would quite like to be playing God of War. And that's just the truth. It's the way it is.
A Christmas spent with Kratos, that's the perfect Christmas as far as I'm concerned. But I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Family get in the way, right? They're lovely, and that's what Christmas is all about, ultimately. But I remember being a kid at Christmas and just being able to just be like, right, well, I got 2 weeks off school, gaming time. No one's going down to the park or playing football or anything because it's just icy and horrible.
It's freezing.
Yeah, you don't want to be out. So it would just be a time for gaming. And then the only time that would kind of pause is over Christmas Day, Boxing Day, because you've got to spend time with the fam. And all day, you just unwrap your newest presents, get your newest toys, get your newest games, and then you can't really play them that day, and that would be torture, So my mum would always counteract that by kind of giving them to me on Christmas Eve for a lot of games, so I could play them till God knows what time for like the newest game. So then I wouldn't be a pain in the arse on Christmas Day, where I wouldn't be like, oh,
I'd be a pain in the arse.
Twitching all day, like, oh, I really want to go play. So she'd kind of overcome that by providing that early, which is always a nice relief. But now we're working men. All you get is that time off with fam. So it's a bit of a grim existence. You're just going to have to eat and be merry, my friend. But well done on actually making some progress on it, because I know it's been something that's been irking you a little bit. And you'd be like, Davey, you got to pull me away from Smash. I'm like, this is a you problem. This ain't me.
It is.
Like, I can't force this. This is just for you to play and you to take your time. But I'm glad you're enjoying it. As I said before, it's no spoilers here for our Game of the Year predictions or our Game of the Year discussion when we have that probably on the next episode of the podcast. It's easily my number one. Without a shadow of a doubt, easily the best thing that's been put out this year, hands down. And I'm glad you're enjoying it. I really am. Now, listeners, have played one game that I think would be worth having a little discussion about, but it all depends on yourself, Spencer, and how far you want to kind of go with this. Because I have just reviewed it on YouTube, so if we don't go very deep, it's not the end of the world. One of the biggest games for us, a game that we were championing on this podcast, came out only last week or the week before, on the 7th, I think, of December, just after we recorded the last episode, I think it came out. And that's the Callisto Protocol. I played it. I've completed it. I haven't got the platinum, so there's going to be no jingle here. Do you want to discuss this, Spence? Because I got a half-hour video on this, which is up on my YouTube with my full thoughts. But is there anything you kind of want to know or anything you want to ask me? Because I can always link this in the podcast description for those that actually want to know how I feel kind of in depth.
I think I only have one question.
Sure, go on.
And it's going to tell me a lot. For me, it will tell me a lot about the game. Are you going to go for platinum?
Right now, in its state that it's in, no. But there's a good reason for that. In February, apparently, they're launching a New Game Plus mode. And it's a game that would benefit from New Game Plus because it's all upgrades. So like you upgrade your weapons, you upgrade your melee weapons, things like that. Until that's in there, I can't see the drag to kind of put in from a base level experience again. Because the way the game's set up, without going into spoilers, because it's so melee based, as soon as you learn the skills to be able to do melee combat, difficulty shouldn't really be an issue. Because enemies may take extra damage, so I could play it on the harder difficulty. But you're playing like Ultra Instinct Goku, you ain't getting hit because you've already got it all innately built into you. So I don't think that's going to be the draw. The draw is going to be to like upgrade my stuff to max to see what happens to the weapons to be able to get like alternate fire modes when they're maxed out and stuff. And I can't see that yet without starting a new game and just putting more resources into different guns I didn't use last time. Rather than if it was a new game plus, I could just fill out my arsenal with the upgrades I'm missing. And that would be a nice little way to be able to go back through. So, yes, it's a game I will platinum. Not right now, though. So it's going to have to hold on. Just for the moment. Hope that answers your question.
It does. It very much does.
Audience, if you're looking for just a quick Davey TLDR, then for the Callisto Protocol, what I would say to you is that it's a solid 7 out of 10 game. I think in my review, I reviewed it like this. I said that it's got AAA aesthetics on a middling game. So it looks fantastic. It's easily the best looking game of this generation, 100%. Not even a shadow of a doubt as far as I'm concerned. Way better looking than anything else that's come before. The visual effects, the ray tracing, the fog, absolutely incredible. The lighting is just sensational.
Better than Horizon?
Oh, shits on Horizon. Oh, yeah. Totally.
Wow.
Totally shits on Horizon. Kind of totally different, though, because you got like such a streamlined linear approach game compared to an open world. So Horizon's super impressive anyway, but it's even more impressive because it's in an open world environment. This is just focused. It's like corridors, it's smaller environments, and because of that, the fidelity is insane. It's photorealistic. It's actually amazing to look at. People sweat. There's like when you hit someone, the blood like sprays all over them, and it stays there and then dries off. And yeah, it's honestly, presentation-wise, next level. Nothing's matched it yet. But
wow.
The gameplay underneath that and the kind of loop that goes with it isn't quite there. It's not up to the level of Dead Space or anything like that. So, it's a Marmite game. I can see some people really loving it, some people hating it. But yeah, we'll kind of leave it there. Now, Spencer, there was an interesting demo that came out as part of the Game Awards, and of course we'll be discussing the Game Awards, our main topic today. That was Forspoken. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. I know that you have, and I'm desperate to know what your thoughts are with it, because I have heard a lot of negative things online, but you and me were very, very excited for Forspoken, and the only reason I haven't played it yet is because I've been too deep putting out a review on Callisto, so I just haven't had the chance yet. Give me your thoughts.
Forspoken. Well, it's the kind of thing where, you and I, we've benefited a lot from demos in the past, where we have games we're super excited for, and then like Diablo 2, we were super keen for, we were well excited, they released a demo. We played it for half an hour, and then we were like, great, thanks for releasing that, we know we're not buying the game. You've just saved us however much money. Fantastic. Demos have done that a lot for us in the past. With Back 4 Blood as well, that happened the same thing. It's happened quite a lot. Sometimes when it's like the Call of Duty beta, it's like, yeah, we want this game. This game we need that now. And there are just some cases where it's not that case, and it just puts you off. Forspoken, I was so excited for. Mega excited. When they first showed it as Project Athia, I remember thinking there's no chance that becomes a real game. Not a chance in the world. It looked like a tech demo they do every single generation to show off its capabilities, and it never gets made into something. Ever. And they did it. And it's actually coming out. And I did play it. The combat feels horrendous at first. Horrendously bad. But it does get better the more you get used to it. I played it for maybe like an hour, maybe hour and a half, because there's quite a lot you can do in a demo. There's a main line it tries getting you to do, but if you do that, the demo's like 20 minutes long. There's a lot of side objectives, so there's like mini bosses, there's fights you can do, there's little quests you can do. You can change her cloak, you can change her nails, which give her like different power buffs. You can change her necklace, which does the same thing. There's all this kind of stuff you can do, and the game looks beautiful up close, but the render distance kind of throws it off. You see a lot of stuff kind of appearing in the background. My dog is barking like mad. I apologize, listeners. We're recording earlier than usual, so you're going to be hearing my dog because he's not asleep. That's the way it is. Also, I might be sniffling and coughing at this point because I'm not 100%. There we are, out the way. Graphically, it's not the most impressive. It's also not the least impressive. I'd say it's roughly somewhere in the middle, kind of sits perfectly in there. And it's kind of fun, not massively fun. So I don't know if you have any specific questions you want to ask me about it, but
yeah, that's kind of
wasn't great.
So it's kind of like a middling. You're falling kind of like middle on this. You don't hate it, but you're not exactly sold on it. Yeah. I do want to know in terms of the big things that have always been a ruckus with this game, the things that everyone's always kind of dunked on it for. One of them, or kind of the biggest one, has been kind of the main character themselves and their kind of humor and their like out of this world. They dropped in and so they're saying things that people just for some reason think are really cringe. Did you pick up on any of that, or did it bother you at all?
I'll say throughout all the trailers where people were complaining about that, I never had an issue with it whatsoever. Not at all. I thought it was fine. In this demo, yeah, it pissed me off. There is so much cringe between her and that bracelet thing she has on her arm. That's what she talks to. The dialogue between those two is horrendously cringe. It's like so blatantly Japanese that they've translated to English, and it doesn't work the same as it probably would over there. It's just boring. And it was only like an hour demo, and there were so many repeated dialogue lines during combat or during traversal. Or during anything, just repeat after repeat after repeat, and if you played the game on mute, it would be a better experience. It genuinely would.
Oh wow, that's pretty savage. That is pretty savage. So you mentioned about the combat in this game as something that when you started playing you didn't overly enjoy, and then you kind of got used to. So talk to me about that. What was it that kind of made the difference? The longer you played, the more you kind of got into it.
Okay, the reason is it's kind of complex, but not really once you grasp it. That's kind of the reason. There's they're kind of weapon wheels, but they're not. They're like attack wheels. So you have like, say, 3 spells, and you're in, I don't know what the main character's name is, already don't know, but you're in her mode. And she has 3 spells. So one's like a ranged blast, one's like a ranged heavy blast, and one's a ranged fast blast. And that is it. To use them, you have to open the wheel and switch. And that is it. And then you open the wheel and switch again. Then there's the other mode, which is the other wheel, which is on like L1. And the attack wheel will be on R1. The switch wheel will be on L1. And that'll switch from your mode to your bracelets mode. And he's more of a melee combat. So you have like a spear you can attack with. And if you hold the button, you charge it and throw it. There's another attack which is faster. There's another one which is heavier. It's kind of the same thing of a normal, a fast, and a heavy. The kind of same thing in ranged and melee. And then if you press both at the same time, a third wheel pops up. I'm struggling to remember what that wheel even did, because I don't think it was very good.
Stood out that much to you?
Yeah, it's like, it seems complex at first. The more you use it, and you can fast swap, so you can like open a wheel and switch really fast. And the more you use it, the more you get used to it, and it feels better. But I think it's just a case of, when that game's out and it's the full game, you're going to have so many spells. We've seen them in the trailers. So many spells. If they're all confined to that wheel, you'd have to be quite precise to switch to them on the fly. And I think it's just going to be a bit annoying and tedious. And the combat just didn't feel natural. It never felt natural to do, which is it should. It does in other games, other great games like Spider-Man or God of War. It just didn't feel natural to do. It felt like you were playing a JRPG, turn-based, but in live action, and it wasn't like FF7 Remake. It was just worse, just infinitely worse.
And so the last kind of element of the game, the one they've shown off in all the trailers, and the one that actually looks absolutely baller, is the parkour elements. Can you talk to me about how that works?
I can. So circle to sprint, and then if you like double tap it, you kind of go into a boost mode. And that boost is you kind of dash, and it does that kind of nice little motion blur effect on her. And after about 2 seconds, 3 seconds, she glows. And if you press circle at that same time, it activates another boost. So you can keep boosting along and going really fast. And that feels good to do. It feels cool. If you just hold it, she's kind of just moving. And the parkour isn't great. You can like double jump, and then you fall. And then later on in demo, you unlock an ability to get like a third jump to help climb walls. But it's not really very good. I guess it basically means you can climb up walls a bit higher, but that is it. And I'm sure it'd be fleshed out a lot more in the actual game, but in this demo they kind of limited you quite a lot. So the parkour just didn't feel very good. The movement looks a lot better than it feels, I would say. It doesn't feel great, and it's just every single aspect of the game doesn't feel anywhere near as good as it looks. And it doesn't look great. So it's not amazing.
Oh, that's pretty damning. That is pretty damning. I suppose the last question to round this out, are you going to be buying it day one?
I'm not buying it at all. It could be in CEX for a $5, and I don't think I would buy it. It's such a shame because it was a concrete day one for me, and it's gone through like 3 delays and all this, and you'd think they'd be working on it and improving it, but no, it just doesn't feel good. And I hate to echo Twitter because usually they're wrong, but they're actually right about this, and Forspoken just doesn't seem to be as good as it looked initially. So this, cancelled pre-order.
Oh, god damn, that's disappointing. I'm hoping that I'll have chance to be able to dive in before the next episode so I can give you my thoughts and see if it's changed my mind, and I'm kind of falling on the same line of thinking as you. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, I just haven't had the opportunity yet, so I'll look forward to playing that within the next 2 weeks on our next episode. But goddamn, that's disappointing to hear, especially from something like you said was a day one lock. You know, that was something that we were so excited for, against all the grain, all the background noise telling us that this game was trash and it was cringe and everything else. And Twitter may have got one up on us, on this one. God damn. But speaking of something that Twitter is very much on the side of, and something that I think everyone is on the side of, and the reason why our podcast is delayed by a day, Spencer, you are a god amongst men. You are a king among the peasants. You are the one above all, because you managed to get into the Street Fighter 6 beta, which meant, because we do cross-share, I got into the Street Fighter 6 beta as well. And holy fuck, what a
sick
game. What a game.
It's sick. Bro, I came through, they gave that email, I was like, no way, I got in. And like Santa himself, I gifted it upon you as well. My little elf. You've worked so hard this year making all those toys. I thought you deserve some Street Fighter 6 as well.
Thank you.
Boy, what a sick game. Oh, what a sick game. Oh my god.
There is so much that we can discuss here with this game. There is so much. So first off, right, I want your top level thoughts from playing it originally at EGX when we went a couple of months back to now having a full weekend's worth of play, which I think we each sunk in at least 10 odd hours into this. I think you spent even more than that. I don't even want to know how much you played this.
I've spent a lot more. I've played more Street Fighter than I have God of War. Yeah, I put a lot of hours.
That's wild. Well, yeah, I put about 15 hours, I think, all told, by the end of the weekend. And so I can't imagine how many you've put in. I want to know, what are your thoughts since playing at EGX compared to now? Has it improved? Has it got worse? Has it stayed the same?
It's really, let's be honest, it stayed the same. However, we're more knowledgeable. We've got more time. We got more hands-on with the game. And the game was probably just as good as it is now at EGX. However, we didn't know. We didn't know the potential, the capacity of the game. We didn't know what awaited us. And now, oh baby, I probably spent like 30 hours in this game. I woke up Street Fighter until I went to bed. That was my day. And when I had food, when I went downstairs to look after Bear, straight on the TV, YouTube, Street Fighter 6 games. That's all I did. Even when I wasn't playing Street Fighter 6, I was watching Street Fighter 6. What a sick game. But it's like, the game's the same as it was at EGX, it is, but the hype for the game, it was already my most anticipated for next year. Now it's like through the roof. Jesus. There's a hole in there. There's a hole in my ceiling. It's the same size as a Street Fighter 6 case. Isn't that crazy?
What happened was your hype just built up so much you just Shoryuken through the roof.
Through the roof.
Straight up. Straight up through the roof. And gone. Your mum's like to your dad, you gotta get on the roof and fix it. He's like, yes, I'll wait until they podcast next.
Yeah.
I'll be nailing that all back up. No worries, love. He's fuming that we left it a couple of days late. You've been having a soggy floor. But he would have fixed that last Friday for you, but never mind. So, in terms of this game, this beta, we had a host of different characters that we could play as. We had, and fill me in with this, I'm doing this off the top of my head, we had Ryu, we had Ken, we had Chunners, we had Juri, we had Kimberly.
Is that it? Is that all you know? Kimberly, well done.
Kimberly. We had the guy who drinks stuff. Can't remember his name.
Jamie.
And we had one other person, I think. Fill me in.
Throw sandblasts.
Throw sandblasts. Oh, we had Luke.
Really fast. Luke, the poster boy, mate.
The poster boy. Of course we did.
Yeah.
Now, listeners, you know me, sticking with my guns here. I'm a Ryu guy. So I play nothing but Ryu. Spencer, whenever I've seen you, were playing Jury, but did you try anyone else? Or is it all about those feet for you?
Love Jury. Those feet have to stink. But I played, for the majority, I played Jury. I did dip into training mode with Kimberly a little bit because her combos and her playstyle kind of seemed like they would suit me. However, I had to play with pad rather than my fight stick during this beta, which was atrocious. I hate playing Street Fighter or any fighting game that isn't Mortal Kombat on pad. So yeah, I had to do that. So Kimberly, she's a lot more button heavy than Jury is. A lot of fast inputs. I couldn't do it on a controller. So I kind of put her away within like half an hour. I learned what her specials are. I learned what her game plan is. Then I just put her to bed. I thought, I don't have the time to be doing this. I need to use Jury to learn the game. Opposed to learning a character, learn the game. And that's what I did. I stuck with Jury after that then.
And you've played Street Fighter kind of off and on, but you've never really devoted yourself to a Street Fighter like myself and Phil did when we played Street Fighter 4 for years and years and years. So this is quite a newer experience for you, kind of going into this. Obviously, you played Mortal Kombat quite a lot. You played a lot of 2D fighters, but kind of devoting yourself to a game is something you haven't really done with Street Fighter in the past. Now, I want to ask you, before we kind of get into the kind of minutiae that comes in with Street Fighter 6 and the new systems they've implemented that really make it stand out amongst the rest of the Street Fighter titles, I do want to ask you, you mentioned about playing on pad. Now, you went for the modern control scheme on this so that you could really kind of maximize your time with pad. I was playing on stick, so I stuck with classic. Now, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think this is a system that will get like more casual people that haven't played Street Fighter before kind of into the series and give them an easier time to be able to kind of acclimatize to it?
I think 100%. It's literally you play the game without the need for inputs. That is all it is. There's no inputs when you're on modern controls. The only inputs you have, it's more like playing Smash. Whereas opposed to doing quarter circles or half circles, you do forward. So you hold forward and press triangle rather than doing half circle, EX, 2 buttons, all of that. There's still 2 button presses. To do any EX, there's still 2 button presses, but they kind of change because the way it works, your specials won't be on the buttons they're supposed to be on. They're set to different combinations. So to do my kicks, it took me ages to figure out the EX for the kicks, which is kind of like Jury's biggest thing to lead into a super. And it was quarter circle, X and circle on the pad. And it was mega uncomfortable to do. And I literally couldn't do it on D-pad. I played it on D-pad the whole time, but when I did that combo, I switched to stick, the analog stick, for that one input. And it felt really awkward to do, but it's the way it was. Modern controls are kind of just baby's first fighting game. That's literally what they are. So anyone who's maybe, I say baby's first fighting game, there might be people who just can't do inputs. They might have like a disability or something, and this is a way for them to enter the game, kind of an accessibility option, if anything. But it's also for those casuals who are kind of scared to play it because of inputs, because of having to learn all those kind of motions and movements in the game. They don't have to now. So it's definitely kind of a way to bring in a casual audience. I'd 100% agree with that, yeah.
So do you think that there's, and we've been kind of guilty of this in the past for different things, like we got very much a stance when it comes to, say, hard games, like, I don't know, Dark Souls, you can call it hard, it's not really that hard, but where we're like, no, they don't need to have an easy mode, this is how it's designed, this is what it is, you know, get good if you can't play it, kind of sucks, but is what it is, right? Accessibility is a little bit of a different argument, so we'll kind of leave that to the side. But in terms of having this option there, and it does display when you go in to fight somebody if they're using classic or they're using modern controls, it does make that very, very evident when you go in to fight them. Do you think that this is kind of a step backwards for the series, that by opening up to more people, it's actually taking away a lot of the skill that comes from playing a competitive fighting game?
Kind of, but no. I would say no, because really, at high level at least, everyone can do every input. Everyone's doing all the inputs. The inputs aren't the issue. It's neutral, and it's fundies, and it's footsies. And that is what the game's all about. The better player, even if someone else is playing with these new controls, the better player, even if they're on classic controls, should still win. Because it's not really about your inputs, it's about your decision making. It's about how you approach your opponent. It's about knowing the matchups. It's about knowing what your opponent's capable of doing to you and staying outside of that range. And a bad player, even if they're on modern controls, won't be able to kind of beat that just because they have easier inputs. I think it's fine. It kind of entices a new audience, which is great for the game, great for everyone. People are obviously going to not like modern controls. We had an issue when we were playing, and someone came up to us and said, "Let me fight Spenpie." And we were just like, "Why?" He said, "Because I want to see how lucky he is with modern controls."
Yeah,
and then I beat his ass.
He's a right dick, wasn't he, that guy?
Yeah, and I beat him into the ground. We did play him again afterwards, and I couldn't touch him. So he was obviously good, and he was just kind of fucking about to see if I was actually just lucky. But then we talked to him, and I was like, "I'm only on modern because I'm using a pad, and I can't be asked to learn pad during a beta, which when the game's out, I'll be on stick." He's like, "Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, respect." So it's fine. We got there in the end, but people are definitely going to have kind of a bad opinion on modern control players, and that's kind of just, it's life. That's what people like with video games. People don't like easy modes, especially people who have dedicated years to Street Fighter, the whole series, been playing since Street Fighter 2. Someone comes in and they're doing Zangief lariats because they got modern controls, they press down and triangle. People are going to be kicking off, but you're a better player. Just win. Why are you losing? You shouldn't lose to someone who's been playing the game for a week and on modern controls. It's the way it is. I think it's completely fine. And yes, I have been using them, so that might be biased, but I think it's fine.
I got to echo those thoughts, man. I completely agree with you. I don't think there's anything wrong with having accessibility, and fighting games is one of those things that it is a very robust scene. You know, it's got a lot of character. Evo is one of those things. It's a big highlight of the esports calendar, especially for myself. And I don't think getting more people into the scene and providing for them to be able to get in, and maybe it might be a case that they start learning that. They learn the neutral, they learn the hard things that come from a fighting game, which is your neutral, your decision making. And then think, do you know what? I'm going to transition over. I love this so much. I'm going to transition over to classic controls. Why not? Let's do it. And it might be something that gets more people through the door. And ultimately, the larger audience you have for a fighting game, the better the health of that fighting game. I don't think there's anything wrong with providing that. And it's a lot better than having things like target combos and, you know, having those kind of things that fighting games did for a little while, where it's just like, press these 3 buttons in a row and you do a basic bitch combo. And everyone just spams the fuck out of that. Like Dragon Ball FighterZ did that a lot, where it was just like press 3 buttons in a row and he did like a basic combo that went to a launcher. And it was there, and it was annoying, and it had its own properties that pro players actually ended up adopting and using that into their more complex strategies because it was so broken.
Because it would raise you.
Yeah, because it was actually broken, right? So it's one of those things that it's very hard to get the balance right on a genre that is built around competition and built about separating the wheat from the chaff, from the boys from the men, if you will, from the Santa to the elves. You know, you need something there to be able to have that. And if you can leverage the control scheme to make it so that it's open for all, but then the game mechanics are the same for everyone, so you've got to get good regardless of how you play, I don't see there being a problem. I played loads of characters loads of people over the beta that had modern controls, and we had some good games. We had some really shit games. You know, some games where I just totally perfected them, double perfect, and others where it was quite close. I didn't want to think, oh, fucking modern controls, he's not dropping a single thing. I just thought, well, I shouldn't drop this. Like, why am I dropping my combo? Why? I've been playing Street Fighter for years. This is on me. It's not his fault. You know, it's me and my fault for dropping it. And I think there will be some animosity when we get into the main game, and that does come out. But I'll be very surprised if anyone who's like on, you know, doing well on the leaderboards and well on the rankings is a modern player. I'll be very surprised. But I think that it's definitely going to open the door for more people to get in, which is always a good time. Now, in terms of the game itself, Spence, I've got to say, you were talking about your hype level. Bro, my hype level was already here, right? Already above me. Like you said, through the roof, through the stratosphere, we're out past the moon, bro. I'm above excited for this. And the reason for it, I'm going to make a very bold claim here that a lot of people probably If you haven't played much of Street Fighter 6, you probably think I'm talking crazy or I'm overhyped, but I'm not. I'm speaking the truth. This is the best Street Fighter game ever made, in my opinion. It's better than Third Strike. Just put that out there. It's better than Third Strike, which is insane to talk about. But it is.
That is.
And it's all because of the drive system. Now, this is something that when we played it last time, we didn't even have a fucking clue even existed. And even now, today, you and me, Spencer, were chatting, we still didn't fully understand the drive system. After 2 whole days or 3 whole days of sweating the bollocks off it, we still were missing features from the drive system that we had no idea about. So, listen, I can hear you screaming at your radio. What is the drive system? Well, the way it basically works is that each character has got a number of different moves that share one bar. So you've got your health bar which runs along the top, and underneath that you've got a separate bar. Now that bar could do your EX moves, which are your more powerful versions of your basic moves. So think about a Hadouken. You can then change it to a Hadouken which classes 2 hits. So it does extra damage, it moves quicker. It's got the ability to beat out other projectiles. It's a much better move. You've got that. You've got the ability to do a thing called a drive rush, which is where you hit somebody, you can cancel by double pressing forward, and your character will go into a full sprint. And then every time, when you hit that next move, you get extra frames to be able to extend a combo or to be able to make things that wouldn't normally work into combo tools. So a lot of depth in that one. Insane amount of depth. You also, if you just press it, you get a frame 1 parry. A frame 1 parry. So, and we're going Third Strike with this, because if you parry perfectly on frame 1, you've got a 3-frame window for this parry, so same as Third Strike. If you hit that parry within 3 frames, you get no lag. So you get to act immediately out of it, so you can get imagination from it, which is amazing. Amazing. You also got the ability, and I'm sure I'm probably missing some, but you got some where if you're getting pushed, if you're taking blocks from this, you can do a kind of reversal which pushes them back. And we didn't even know that even fucking existed when we played at Spence, which is absolutely insane to think about. This system has got so many options, and it's all the best parts from all the Street Fighter games in the past coalesced into one. And this bar reduces if you take damage, or if you block damage, it gets reduced. And you can build it up by doing damage to other people all over time. It will also refill. And you get one final thing with this, and it's called Drive Impact. And that is the ability where you basically get a level 3 focus attack from Street Fighter 4. So you can take a maximum of 2 hits you can tank with armor, and then you'll go through that and hit the opponent. And the idea of this is it will put them into a crumple state. So it's exactly the same as a focus attack on Street Fighter 4. However, you got extra abilities with this, because if you do it near a corner, they hit into the corner, they become stunned, allowing you for a free combo. Or if they've got no meter and they're out of meter and you hit them into the corner, it sets up for a full stun, which is imagination time. You do whatever the fuck you want. They're taking insane damage. Absolutely insane, this drive system. And for me, it's the reason that I thought Street Fighter 6 felt like a very neutral-heavy game from playing it. I thought it felt very similar to Street Fighter 4, which was exactly what I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be a case of my decisions have weight, that it's a case of us getting our space, it's getting your throws, it's making sure that you've got everything. Every decision you make needs to be on point, otherwise you're going to take some damage. And there's that, but then what they said is, let's put every single mechanic we've ever had from Street Fighter and tie it all into one bar of usage. You get that bar from the off, do what you want, have some creative freedom. And it's up to you as a player to decide how you use that bar and your resources, and it can create your own play style from using that. And that system has blown me away. What are your thoughts on the drive system?
Well, mate, I want to start by saying Third Strike has always been my favorite Street Fighter. It's the one I put the most time into. It's the one I went to my first ever fighting game tournament for, even before Smash. My first ever tournament was Third Strike. I adored that game. But you are right. Street Fighter 6 blows it away. It is the best Street Fighter ever made. And honestly, it's not close. It's not close. Street Fighter 6 is a perfect Street Fighter so far. I don't know about full release, about the other characters and what they're going to be like. But there's not a single character that came out that seemed broken. All of them were more or less balanced and good at their own thing. What you're saying, the biggest thing with this game, the drive meter, the drive bar. Oh, baby. It's insane. The amount of options you can do. And you knew, as soon as we started playing, you were like, oh, because I kept using drive impact. Because that move is broken. And it does have answers. You can parry it. You can grab out of it. But the best answer for it is to drive impact back. Because if you do, I think you get added stun. But you drain their meter. It's a frame 1 option if you react with it. And like you said, if they're against a wall, it's game over. And the way the bar works, there are some characters, so like Luke, who throws these sandblasts. And he very much likes to, he can box, he can get in and do big damage, but he's happy to keep you away because his projectiles are so fast. And he very much likes to mix up them with the EX ones, like you just said with the Hadouken, they do 2 hits and they're stronger, so they can tank your projectiles. He very much likes to kind of keep away and do that, and then when you get in, he'll box you to get you back away. And that was very much his playstyle. And I saw someone fighting a Luke, and what they chose to do, because they saw the Luke was close to running out of his drive bar, he hit them, and instead of doing like a massive 3000 damage combo, he sacrificed that damage to do a drive impact combo, which is true. Every character can hit like a heavy kick into a drive impact, and it's true. He sacrificed that damage to drain the remains of Luke's bar, to get rid of his chance of using his EXs. Because when you lose your bar, you go into burnout. When you're in burnout, you then just have to wait. You have to wait for your bar to recharge, and it takes ages. It takes like 15 seconds. And you can't do any EX moves. You can't do drive impact. You can't parry. Everything's gone. The main objective of the game, in my opinion, is to get your opponent into burnout, because you have such an advantage when you do. It's just a layer, an extra layer. And then like you said, when they're in burnout, if they're against a wall, drive impact again, and they're stunned. Stunned. The world's whatever you want it to be. You can jump, heavy attack, massive combo. You can grab them, you can super them, you can ultra them. Choose whatever you like. They're stunned for about 5 seconds. You have ages. It's just, it's the way they've made it. The way they've designed that bar to include everything and encompass around it in the entire game benefits from you being observant on your opponent's bar. It's just perfect. It's a perfect system, and I'm so glad it exists.
And can we say as well that what's nice is there's no comeback mechanic in this. There's none. Normally, you know, every Street Fighter, you've got an ultra move which kicks in, depending on as soon as you get, you know, you block with your face, and then all of a sudden you get access to your best move to kind of bring you back. Mortal Kombat does this, Street Fighter does this, every fighting game does this. This doesn't. You got a separate super meter which refills from you doing damage or taking damage. You both got that same thing, that same resource. Both of you will end up with that level 3, even if one of you has taken hardly any damage. You will both end up with it, probably across that. It's not a case of you get this because you're getting clapped and you got a chance to come back. It's a case of if you're doing the clapping, you can still level 3 them if you wanted to. I don't know why you'd want to use your bar first round, but you could. And I think like just having those options there, and you knowing that you could be a player that doesn't use their bar, very conservative with it, and you use it when you feel you need to use it. Or you could start the round off and burn through your entire bar and put yourself in burnout, which I did many times to win rounds, and just get such an advantage over somebody because you're taking that risk of saying, I'm going to finish this. I'm going to use everything I got. I'm going to get some big combos off. We're going to just tunnel them. We're going to put them in that corner. And even though I'm in burnout, they ain't getting out of that corner. And you can win. But that's your choice. And that's your player. That's your way you approach that matchup. And that's the way you approach that person that you're playing. And I think having that level of choice into this fighting game is what separates it from everything that's come before. Because it just literally says, here's the tools, go and play. And it's just wild. And we haven't even come on to some of the other quality of life features that are in this game. I don't want to go on forever on this, but I think it's very important that we kind of talk about some of these because they could be gimmicks, but I know I personally didn't think they were. For the beta, we didn't have access to the single player mode, so we haven't been able to try that yet and see what that kind of brings. But we did get access to, when you're in the lobbies, you're in these battle lounges. So you join a server, so you choose whichever country or whichever place you want to go to. You go into these destinations, and it's an arcade. And so you've got free range of different arcade cabinets that you can all get together, play around, spectate, join the queue to be able to fight somebody else. You've got a ranked mode that you can join whenever you want to, a casual mode, whichever you can join whenever you want to. You've also got a shop, and you've got tournament sign-ups and a stage that you can watch things on. I loved this entire lineup. I absolutely adored it. From the character creator, seeing these absolutely abysmal, chaotic creatures that were roaming around that were fully luminescent, or were like 7'2" and skinny as hell. Seeing some like proper creatures running around in this place, which was wild to see. But what I loved is the sense of community it brought. In terms of the stage, in terms of there was a tournament happening. I booted up, messaged you, you were online. I joined straight into your lobby, and you said, I'm at the stage watching. And I came, sat next to you, and we both watched the finals for the tournament that was happening that day. And it was such a great experience. It was just one of those things that it really felt like there was a sense of community. And we got to know a couple of people that were in the lobby with us that we played games with. And we're chatting, everyone was using the chat, everyone was really nice. I think they've nailed it with this system. I think that this whole lobby structure does exactly what they designed it to do in terms of bringing a sense of community to a fighting game. I don't know how you feel about all this.
I think I kind of agree with basically every single thing you're saying. The battle hub that you enter is like, it's flawless, and there's so many little things where if you get on a cab and no one's playing you, you can choose to go into training mode whilst you wait. There were like secret cabs that I found upstairs. There's only 3 of them. But if you get on one, no one's going to come fight you. Because those are kind of, I think the community has designated those to be labbing setups. No one fights you on there. You just sit there and you lab. And people just leave you be. It's very nice the community kind of just jumped to that immediately. It's also a corner, a very cool corner, that just has retro games. They had Final Fight. They had Street Fighter 2 Turbo. And they had some other game that I already can't remember what it was. And Magic Hand or something like that. It was strange. I had never heard of it. But it was sick. It's just called That's There. My only complaints with the system they've implemented, the only complaint I have, is to do with the tourney mode. And that is when the tournament starts, half of the battle hub, all the cabinets go red. And it looks really cool. They kind of get like a red grid around them. And it feels like you're actually at a local tournament. Because when the tournament starts, you can't play friendlies. Those setups are designated for tournament sets. You can't play on them. And that exact thing happens in this. It's like you're actually at a local tournament. Half the venue turns into tournament cabs. You can still play on any of the others. It's fine. But you can't play on those. And when people get their tournament games, they kind of just teleport there with their opponent they play. My issue is that you can't play on those cabs. It's nice you can't, but I'm sure it would be annoying down the line. Like, it feels like you're actually at a local event, so that's really nice and nostalgic. But it will get annoying, and a lot of people will get pissed off when these servers are crammed at launch and people can't play because that cabinet's set for a tournament. You're like, it's a video game online. Why am I waiting?
I guess. I think my only counter to that, though, is that there's a lot of servers, isn't there? And not all the tournaments happen at the same time. They're staggered. So you could just move to a different room and be able to kind of escape that and have a few extra hours before you have to move back while that tournament's happening. So I don't think it would be too much of a big deal in the long run. I see what you mean, though. I personally, I vibe with that. I thought this is great. Like, this is just really cool. It takes you back to when somebody would come to a Street Fighter event for the first time, they know what to expect because you've been experiencing that online. And I think just that sense of it kind of being an extension of the game and how closely like esports and fighting games are kind of married up together with that sense of community. I think they really captured that. It worked for me on every level. I see what you're saying, but I'd argue there is a way to get around that.
No, I agree. It did work for me as well. I really like it, but I'm just sure people are going to have issues with it down the line when the servers are a lot more packed. And then obviously a tournament happens in one, so everyone from that server flocks to a different server, and there's 3 tournaments in 3 servers to happen at the same time, and then 4 hours later there'll be another one. All 3 of those servers are going to have half the server looking for different servers. It's going to get crowded and people are going to complain. I like it at the moment. I think it's fine, but I'm sure people will complain down the line. My other issue, and it's the big one, is that during that tournament, grand finals, they showed on the stage and it was awesome. You could sit down with the entire server, all sit down and watch this. And it's like you're a community, you're actually at an event. They only show grands on that thing. It's an entire tournament, a single limb, so it's not double limb. I don't like that either. Single limb sucks, but at the same time, just win. Why are you losing? So it's fair enough. Why are they not just showing like a random set per like layer of the tournament per round? Like winners round 1, get a random 2 players, put them on the stage so you can watch that. Round 2, 2 other players, get them on the stage. They didn't do any of that. They're all on cabinets. It's only grand finals that you can watch on the stage, and that's kind of my issue. I'm sure the stage is meant for other things. It's meant for when like Evo happens, they'll probably play it in the game, and that would be awesome. And I'll 100% be joining, sitting that. But I feel like they could do more with it, especially with the actual in-game tournaments.
I think that's a really good point. That's actually a great point. And we gotta bear in mind here, we've got 6 months until launch, which is absolutely insane because this game feels polished enough to put out today. It really does. They could put this out now, and I think everyone would be over the moon with it. But we got 6 months more for more polish, and it could well be that these things get fed up to Capcom, they get put out there, and they start trying to implement this. I think that would be a great idea to be able to watch the whole tournament. The other thing I'd like on this is when you're watching them to be able to put a bet on which one you want to win. So your in-game fight money that you earn, that you buy cosmetics with, you buy like Chun-Li's skirt or whatever it is, some random things, people running around with TVs on their head, things like that for your character creator. Have a betting system so that you can say, oh yeah, I'm putting all my money on this guy. This guy's going to win. I'm going to put 5k on him. And it would just have that extra bit of stakes in there. The only other thing, I don't know if I'd actually use this as a feature because we're mostly in PlayStation Party chat, but I think it would be quite nice to have it there, would be have some kind of proximity chat so that people that are around you could chat to without having to use the in-game chat. Like that you could just say, hi, do you want to play some games or whatever? And then you go together instead of having to use that in-game chat option. I think that would be quite nice, but that's very minor. Like these are the most minor things I can think of with this game because the actual gameplay itself is just so top tier. It's beyond comprehension. And like you said, easily my most anticipated game of next year, without a shadow of a doubt. And we got Spider-Man 2. And neither of us are like saying that at all. It's all Street Fighter. And I think that shows like the difference between like a beta that's done well and for a great game and what Forspoken can do, where it can turn people off from that experience. Have you got any final thoughts on Street Fighter before we close this out?
All I can say is that when it comes out, Last of Us is going to be dethroned. And that is it. I can't really say much else.
Jesus Christ.
If it goes the way it's been going, mate, they could have released this game months ago when we played at EGX. It could have been released then. This game's been finished for ages. They probably took like a week to develop it, and they've just spent the other time being like, oh, you gotta wait. Doing a closed beta, showing up at events. Oh, it's finished, mind. Yeah, brilliant. Cheers, Capcom. It's done. It's finished. Just release it. And when it does come out, if it stays as it has, it might dethrone Last of Us, because this game's been exceptional. Actually exceptional.
Wow. Well, those are some big words. So it's time for us to move this on to the quick news. Quick news. Hello and welcome to Quick News. This is normally Phil's section, so I'm filling in here as a temporary host on this. Now, normally on Quick News, as you'll know, we do impressions. But it's kind of going to be impossible when it's just myself and Spencer. Because who are we going to vote for? We got to vote for each other. It's a stalemate. We both end up taking a shot. So instead, we're going to, in the Christmas spirit of things, we're not going to give each other a punishment for this. We are, though, going to entertain you with some Christmas cracker jokes. So, Spencer, you should have gone out and picked your best Christmas cracker jokes. I'm looking for something that will make me laugh. And same goes for me. It's going to be a tough draw because these are Christmas cracker jokes. But I want to hear them. So, Spencer, in the spirit of giving, I want to give you a present. I want you to go first today.
Okay, mate. Well, so obviously Santa deserves a present every now and then. You can't just be giving the whole time. He's got to take. I appreciate that,
sack,
mate. I'll go first.
Reach down in that sack.
I'm reaching. I'm a different kind of Santa. I keep him in my hat.
Oh, Christ.
It's different.
Give me that
It's
top.
all up in the noggin, that's why, mate. All in the brain. Well, no. It's a family episode, mate. It's Christmas. Family episode.
Oh,
episode.
yeah,
Less of that.
Sorry, yeah.
I think we've definitely broken that already, but family episode, I swear. So, for my first Christmas cracker joke, are you ready, my friend? My elf.
Always.
Why did Santa's helper, that's you, see the doctor?
Don't know.
Because he had low self-esteem. Quick news. Terrible idea. All right, quick news. Spider-Man 2 has a release window, courtesy of the 2023 PlayStation highlights. They have said, "What a year it's been for PlayStation Studios. Here at Insomniac Games, we've been in absolute awe of the work of our peers. Congrats to everyone on a successful 2022, and here's to next year being just as exciting as we continue to get Marvel Spider-Man 2 ready for release next fall." Oh, that's a date. Now, Davey, I'll pass it over to you. Give me your best, or one of your best. Not your best, save your best for last. But give me your middling Christmas cracker joke.
Okay. Now, the thing is, since I've become a dad, I've just really enjoyed Christmas cracker jokes. I find like the puns just really just bad, and they just make me laugh. So, what do you get if you eat Christmas decorations?
What?
Tinselitis.
That one's terrible.
Oh, dear. Quick news. We have more information on the game that can't be mentioned 8 VR. Now, this is courtesy of Capcom PR. So they emailed me out, I got a PR account with them, and so this is straight from there. So I'm going to read this verbatim. The VR mode supports the entire campaign and lifts the award-winning experience to new heights. A deeper and more captivating adventure awaits with PlayStation VR 2. As Ethan Winter's journey takes full advantage of the headset's advanced features, VR mode utilizes the 4K HDR display, eye tracking, and 3D audio to make the game which can't be mentioned Village more realistic and intense than ever. Soak in the village's richly detailed atmosphere in virtual reality, including the ornate chambers of Castle Dimitrescu, and prepare to feel truly dwarfed by the larger-than-life characters and creatures that lurked within. Beyond stepping into the world of the game that can't be mentioned Village with the PlayStation VR 2 headset, players will get to grips with their surroundings in new ways with the PlayStation VR 2 Sense controllers. These represent Ethan's famously resilient hands and allow intuitive actions to be performed in-game. Players can hold up their arms to guard against enemies that get too close for comfort. Weapons also feel tangibly more realistic in VR mode with new gameplay elements that dial up the immersion, such as dual wielding and natural motion controls for reloading firearms and brandishing knives. Spencer, you're as excited as I am for the possibility of revisiting the Village in VR 2. What do you think about these features they've discussed here?
I mean, well, I'm not going to lie to you, all these features are more or less expected. So it doesn't mean too much. I'm happy to see that it's true. I'm happy we are getting it. And like I said in the past, it's the reason I will get a VR2 headset. So give it to me. Just lay it on me, Capcom. Give it to me.
I want Lady Dimitrescu to just be running after me and for me just to turn around and just run straight into her arms. Till now, I always got by on my own. Well, she pulls out those Lady Dimitrescu massive claws and just skewer me up. Straight through the chest. Oh, baby. The thing that excites me about this, and I know it was obviously going to happen because it was in the game that can't be mentioned 4 VR when that came out. The dual wielding just sounds sick, man. Like to be able to flick around a pistol and to be like as if I'm Revolver Ocelot. Like flicking it all around, playing with my knives, dropping my ammo. Oh, Jesus Christ, putting it in the gun. Those kind of things to me are just going to add so much just fun to the experience. Fun and equal parts terror. And I can't imagine what it's going to be like when we go to, when we see those creatures in that one place, you know? Like I kind of, I know
How's
it's been
been at
out
the
for a
end,
while.
mate?
I know. I kind of don't want to go into spoilers, even though it's already old as hell at this point. But yeah, in there, that entire sequence is going to be a new level of terror. And I'm all for it. I literally, I was over the moon with this. And it, like you say, it's nothing that we're not expecting, but I'm just glad to hear that the reality is what we think it should be. And I suppose there's something to that. Now, before I move it over to yourself, there's one final bit of VR news I want to cover off here. And this is something that I was very, very excited to see. We've discussed in the show a few times already about the fact that there's games that were kind of, we don't want to see abandoned on the last version of VR. And so some of the best games for that are the Moss 1 and 2, which came to PSVR 1. We now have had confirmation that they are coming to PSVR 2 as a launch day games. So on the 22nd of February, you can get your hands on the bundle for Moss 1 and 2 for $39.99 in US dollars. Pounds, don't know the exact amount. Imagine it's around the same amount there, 40 quid. Thoughts on this, Spence? Is this something you'll pick up day one?
It definitely is, because I was going to buy Moss on my Quest, but my Quest, since I've got a dog, I can't really play VR downstairs. So my Quest has long since been abandoned. So I never did end up buying the game. But I've been keen to play it for a long time, so this is definitely a bundle I'm going to pick up on the first day.
I mean, what more of an excuse do you want to play as a little rat? You know, we're already calling you a rat at the best of times. Now you can be a rat, Spence. It's exactly what you want, right? You can be a little rat, go around your environment, sniffing out cheese. I don't know what Moss does in this game, but he looks cute, and you're a cute little rat to me, mate.
Calling Santa a rat, mate. Meet you scrub the toilets, fam.
I want to be on that nice list. I better start being good to you, hadn't I? Speaking of, enlighten me with your next Christmas cracker.
Oh, I got you.
I enjoyed the last one a lot. I really enjoyed the last one.
I know you did, yeah. The last one was probably one of the best, so I shouldn't have said it so soon. However, my next one. What do snowmen wear on their heads?
I wish try and figure them out. I'm not quite getting it. Go on.
Ice caps.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible. What a step down. What a step down from what came before. Ice caps.
Yeah. It's Christmas cracker jokes, what do you expect? All right, great news. The next bit. Since launch, the PS5 has, for the most part, had really solid backwards compatibility with the PS4 titles. However, there have been some outliers in the mix. Some of those were Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Assassin's Creed Chronicles India, and Assassin's Creed Chronicles Russia. Well, we're happy to inform you that both of the Chronicles titles have had patches and supposedly now run way better than they did initially on the PS5. Assassin's Creed Syndicate, however, is yet to receive the same treatment. And let me tell you, it don't work. It doesn't work. It really doesn't. I've seen gameplay. It does not work. So
it doesn't. What happens
it's
with
bad.
it? What running like
just
10...
texture bugs out the wazoo. It's like if playing a game when your graphics card doesn't have the drivers installed. So all the textures are just like flying around, and there's like lines flying across the screen, and nothing looks the way it should. It's bad. It's bad. It's really bad. But yeah, that's it's bad. But Assassin's Creed India and Assassin's Creed Chronicles Russia, they're fixed supposedly. I'm not going to play them. I'm not going to try them out for you listeners because I'm done with Assassin's Creed for now. But test it for yourselves. Let us know right back. We'd love to hear from you. Davey, moving on to you. Give us your joke. Joke.
Yeah, inverted comments joke. This one's good though. I really like this one. What did Santa do when he went speed dating?
What?
He pulled a cracker. Come on. That's a good one.
Is that a slur?
No, that's not a slur. No. No. Stop taking it to that place. It's a family show. Quick news. Listeners, you know how much I love the fact that PlayStation be teaming up with these different developers over in China and bringing their vision to light, such as Fist, which came out last year, to critical acclaim from myself and Philip Hoy. Well, we've had the first new announcements for games that are coming as part of this. So 2 new games from the PlayStation China Hero Project. The first one, Lost Soul Aside, and that's a sleek combat game. Think of it like Devil May Cry, which is yourself and a dragon companion going in, sourcing up enemies with spicy little combos. To me, it looked awesome. It looked really, really good. And the second one is a game called, here we go. I'm going to butcher this, I know I am. Convaleria. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. Convalaria. You're going to go for that? We're famously wrong.
I would. I think that's close.
We're famous for getting words wrong on this podcast. You know, I think we were pronouncing Dimitrescu as Dimitrescu for like 6 months or so. So we could be wrong on this, listener. But what it is a new multiplayer third-person action shooter coming to PS5 and PS4. Now, there are trailers for this up on the PlayStation blog, and I'll link that into the podcast description. I thoroughly recommend you check them both out because they look really, really interesting to me. Speaking on Convaleria, or whatever the hell we're saying it these days, Spence, with that game, it reminded me a little bit of like Destiny, but in third person. Have you seen the trailer?
Bruv, I'm glad you mentioned this game first out of the two. I'll say that. I'm glad this is the game you brought up first because I've seen it. I saw the gameplay. I think you're absolutely wrong in comparing it to Destiny because Destiny, I've played it quite a bit and it's good. And Convalaria, what it looks like is a game where it's on the PS2. I'm making a game up, by the way. This probably is. It might exist, but I'm making a game up. It looks like to me a game where you're on the PS2 or PS3 maybe, and you play as a toy that's come to life, and you're fighting big toy bosses in the sky, and that's what it looks like to me. You're so small, and the angle it's displaying at behind you looks like that, and it doesn't look good. It looks like a game I'd play when I was like 7 or 8 and be like, this game's sick. But it was trash. It was trash all along. Like the Iron Man Marvel tie-in game, movie tie-in game.
Yeah, I get you. I don't know. I reckon it's got a little bit of promise. We'll have to see more, and it would be something that I'll keep a tangential eye on. You know, I'm not going to be like fixated on it, like, you know, the Eye of Sauron on it or anything. But I think there's something there. I think it looks quite cool. I quite like the art style on it. It looks quite inventive. Who knows? And the fact that you can run around 4 of you as mates shooting some stuff kind of gives me Remnant vibes. I don't know. I'm in for this. I think it looks quite cool, but who knows? The main standout here, though, is definitely Lost Soul Aside. For me, personally, I think this looks sick. I don't think there's enough kind of like Devil May Cry-esque games anymore. God of War used to be one, and it's not. I mean, what can I think of? I can think of Bayonetta and Devil May Cry. That's it. We can't even play Bayonetta anymore, or not the new ones anyway. So we got Devil May Cry.
True. You're missing out the one I thought you'd remember, mate.
Which one?
Metal Gear Rising Revengeance.
Oh, shut your fucking mouth. Oh! Sorry.
You know I'm right, so I don't know why you came at me like that.
I thought you were talking about Metal Gear Survive for a moment. My mind immediately went to Metal Gear Survive, and I thought, why are you even bringing this into existence?
Well, you come at me like that. What the hell?
Sorry. I'm so
dude,
sorry.
You're definitely cleaning the toilets now. What the fuck?
It was such a vitriolic response on it. It was just, I don't know. I immediately, as soon as I thought, for some reason, you'd just be going to Survive because it's the last Metal Gear game that was out. But Rising Revengeance, I mean, that was out on PS3, bro. We ain't seeing a sequel to that anytime soon. You got as much hope.
Bayonetta hasn't been on anything since PS3 other than the Switch.
It's been on the Switch, yeah.
And the Wii U.
Yeah, I mean, less said about that console, the better. But but yeah, I mean, you got as much hope asking for a sequel to that as I do for Resistance trilogy. I mean, it doesn't hurt you to ask, but I can't imagine you'll get too far with it. But this is the thing, I just don't think this genre is as explored as it possibly could do. And I mean, we got a game which is coming out for PS5 later on in 2023, which is slipping my mind at the moment. It's that very Japanese Asia-looking game with that woman where she's got the little cape behind her. You know the one I'm on about. I can't remember what it's called.
I know the game, but I have no idea what it's called.
Can you give it a Google? I don't have a fucking clue. Nothing else to do, so that's all ask Google.
After a quick Google, thank you, Mr. Google, as always, such a loyal compatriot of the show, we've found out it's called Stellar Blade.
Project Eve, yeah. Project Eve it was originally known as, wasn't it? What a game, mind. I mean, it just, outside of that, I can't really think of any other games that that are up and coming. And I love the genre. It's a genre that you just have a lot of fun with. And it just looks artistically just fun. And that's ultimately what you want from your video games. It's not anything that's going to blow my tits off, but something I want to keep an eye on, and a proper eye. You know, watching that thing, just getting right up in the people, staring down the barrel at Lost Solar Side. I mean, what are your thoughts on it?
I think, well, comparing it to Convalaria, it looks infinitely better. I watched the trailer, and as I was watching it, I was literally just thinking, this is Devil May Cry. This is just Devil May Cry. Except Devil May Cry is kind of the definitive in the genre. It's the game that stands out. It's the best of the genre, in my opinion. And it's not close, especially after DMC5 came out. DMC5 is exceptionally good. It is awesome, and it's difficult to hell. There's such difficult games, especially if you actually try to learn the combos and actually try. If you go for the platinum on those games, if you platinum DMC5, I would give you 50 quid. It is a challenge. I'd give you more. I'd give you 100 quid. If you actually played DMC5 and platinum there, I'd probably easily give you 100 quid. That game is solid and yet exceptional. And there's no complaining about, oh, it's too hard, all this, because the game's so good and so well made. And every Devil May Cry, other than 2 and DMC, even though I like DMC quite a lot, is the same. They are the standout of the genre, and you're right. No one is really trying to compete in that space. And this is the first time it's happened. And I'm very grateful to see it, because hopefully it kicks Capcom in the backside and tells them, make more DMC games, because they're sick. They're sick.
Capcom just keep winning, though. Capcom just keep winning. Best publisher by far.
Stay winning, bro.
Wild.
Street Fighter 6.
I know. Oh, well, let's move away from that then. Let's get back to what we're really here for. I want to hear this next Christmas cracker, and I hope it is a cracker.
What do you call someone that's scared of Santa?
Present phobic?
Wrong. A terrible guess.
I mean, come on. Go on. Lay it on me.
Claustrophobic.
Fuck. Oh. What makes it worse is that I should have known that. Yeah,
it's such an easy, it's such a gimme.
Oh.
Yeah. A bad joke following news about a bad game. Quick news. Hogwarts Legacy for the PlayStation 5 has gone gold. However, the PS4 version of the game has been delayed and won't release until April 2023. What a shame. Good time to be on PS4. I'll tell you what, it's a great time to be on PS4. Right, that's it. That's that news. That's all I want to talk about Hogwarts Legacy. So Davey, straight back to you. Give me your joke.
All right. How is it? This one's... I like this one.
It's a banger, is it?
I think so. How is Drake like an elf?
What? Drake like an elf. I have no idea.
He spends all his time rapping.
The joke wasn't funny. Your laugh was hilarious.
Oh, it just killed me. I don't know why.
You crying?
Oh, I loved it. I loved it so much.
It might be the best one, to be fair. That might be the best one we've had.
Good one. It's a good one. Quick news. Gotta try and compose myself a second. PlayStation officially confirms that Amazon Prime has ordered a God of War series. It's a live action. It begins development in March of 2022. And the executive producer is Corey Balrog, so he's signed on. The writers don't mean anything to me, which is Mark Fergus and Hawk Ostby, and the showrunner, Rafe Judkins. A lot of those names don't mean anything to me. If you're into TV world, they might mean something. You have to let us know the kind of significance of that. But having Corey on as an executive producer, big deal, means he can oversee it. And judging by the work they've done with the HBO show that's coming out really imminently for The Last of Us, I think this is probably a good shout. Spence, I know you're not as excited about God of War as I am, but I know you're enjoying the new game. What do you think about the fact we see a live action Kratos on screen? And I want to know, who would you cast as Kratos in this adventure? Because we don't know if it's taking place in Greece or if it's taking place in Norse. So I'm not going to ask about Atreus. But let's just go for Kratos for now. Who would you cast?
Well, the listeners aren't going to know him, but I would cast our friend and Smash companion, Puff DD. He is, and obviously listeners, you're not going to know, he's bald. He kind of looks like Dr. Robotnik.
We'll put a picture up.
We'll put a picture up. Yeah. We'll put a picture. The one of him mowing the lawn. That's a great picture. You know the one I'm on about.
Built.
Yeah. Built, bro. Fella is bald, so suits that. Got a big old beard, and he is yoked to oblivion.
Yeah,
if anyone is going to be Kratos, I don't know his acting capability. I don't know how good he is, but he looks the part. And if all he has to do every now and then is just go, boy, then easy job, really. Easy money.
I mean, what we might have to do is we might have to reach out to him before this episode goes up and get him to do an impression of Kratos, because at the moment, he's got a very strong Welsh accent. So I don't know.
True.
Don't know how that's going to work with Kratos. In fact, I think that might be a bit of a detriment to the character, because he doesn't have the overly the deepest voice or anything. He's got proper Welsh, just Welsh accent. So he may have the looks, but I don't know if he can pull it off. I don't know about that one. For me, Spence, I'm going Chris Judge. I'm going the voice actor himself, 100%. He is yoked, bro. Have you seen... I know he was wearing that gold spangly suit in the Game Awards, which we'll discuss later.
He was, yeah.
But he is fucking built. He's built like a brick shithouse. And when he was in Stargate, just literally paint him in white, which is what Kratos is. He's coated in the ashes of his dead wife and daughter. Just literally cover him in ash, put some red on him, chuck him out there. And I reckon he could get fucking ripped up for Kratos. I reckon he'd love it. Plus, he already does the voice. Can you imagine how hype that would be? And he's an actor.
Be hype.
Bro, people would go mental if it was Chris Judge. Like, it's a win-win. I've never seen a better choice staring at someone. He's already an actor. He's not a voice actor. He's got the capability to be able to do this role. He's lived that character now for 2 games. Do it. Fucking open door, back of the net, just fucking do it. It's just the most basic thing I can think of, but it works. It's a no-brainer for me. It's an absolute no-brainer. I think it would be amazing to see. But what's your excitement about seeing God of War being brought to a live action?
I'm hesitant, I would say, because... I mean, there's lots of games coming to life, and like Uncharted movie, Sonic exists, Last of Us with HBO's coming out now, but they're not the same. They're different. God of War has massive gods, and like Kratos is a big fella, but he's just a big fella. He was immortal, you know. He's just a big dude. There are gods, there are beasts, there are creatures, there are things that without the level that maybe Marvel could provide might not look great in an Amazon Prime show. And to be fair, Amazon Prime made The Boys, and The Boys special effects are insanely good. But they don't do the whole CG monsters or anything, and that has to be present in the show.
Did you see Rings of Power from them, the Lord of the Rings?
I haven't, no.
That's really good.
Is it good?
I know a lot of people hate it for some reason, but it's the special effects and everything are immense. And the practical effects and the special effects look brilliant. I mean, it is the most expensive TV show I think ever made. And it shows. It looks incredible. It looks really, really good. Personally, I don't think that's going to be an issue here. It does all come down to budget, and it will need quite a large budget. And it's going to be one of those things that if you're following the story of the games, it's violent. There isn't an awful lot of character in those first 3 games, especially. Or those first 5.
No.
How many games? It's 6 games, I think, before he moves over to Norse mythology. There isn't an awful lot of character there apart from just abject rage. But it would make for some hell of a good TV. Just be able to slice things up and just go in on this adventure. It'd be kind of dumb fun. It'd be kind of like watching 300. You don't watch 300 for the characters. You know, you watch it for just the random one-liners and the sick action. And that's what it could be. If they do bring it into Norse mythology, then it does limit them a little bit, because you are just retelling what happened in, say, God of War 1, or God of War 2018 and Ragnarok. So there isn't as much, and there isn't as much iconic moments in those, in terms of like enemies that everyone knows, compared to like the Gorgon, or, you know, all these things that have been like Harryhausen films, and like Jason the Argonauts, and, you know, everything that was in Greek mythology is already been done to death in cinema and Clash of the Titans and everything else. So you do have more kind of scope for creative freedom, I suppose, that the general audiences would identify with. But you're just kind of sacrificing character for that. So it'd be an interesting one. And I think this is something that definitely caught my eye, and I can't wait to see more. I really can't. I suppose the proof's going to be in the pudding. If Last of Us HBO is shit, which would be wild if it actually is, then maybe my kind of faith in this project and projects of this nature will be shaken. But right now, before I've seen that, I'm all for this. Bring it on. It's a great world to be able to explore.
I do agree with you, but I think the budget, that's my only issue. The budget's going to have to be huge. And if they get it, then I have full faith.
So, close it off then with our final cracker of the night. And I want your best for last. I gave you an absolute blinder on the last one. Even if I was the only one that enjoyed it, I did enjoy it.
No, I enjoyed it, mate. I did enjoy it. It was good. Okay. Why is Santa so damn jolly?
I don't know.
Because he knows where all the naughty girls live. Filth.
Oh, Santa, you dirty bastard. He's been out in Newport
Dirty
every night.
dog.
He knows them all. He knows them all. Give me that list, Santa.
You dog.
That's my, he's got the dog in him. That's my Christmas present, Santa.
Dog.
Give me that list.
Arf. Well, quick news. So, seeing as I'm Santa, and this is my part of the show anyway, this is what I do during quick news, I'm about to read verbatim the list, not my naughty nice list, my list that I'm giving you lot for free this month, the PlayStation Plus game catalog lineup for December. The list is as follows. PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium will be getting WWE 2K 2022 on the PS4, Far Cry 5 PS4, Far Cry New Dawn PS4, Far Cry Primal PS4, God, I hope you like Far Cry, Mortal Shell for the PS4 and PS5, Judgment for the PS4 and PS5, Yakuza Like a Dragon for the PS4 and PS5, Yakuza 6 The Song of Life for PS4, Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor PS4, Middle-earth Shadow of War PS4, The Pedestrian PS4 PS5, Evil Genius 2 PS4 PS5, Adventure Time Pirates of Enchiridion PS4, I'm not sure how to say that, Ben 10 Power Trip PS4 PS5, that's going to be sick, Gigantosaurus The Game for PS4, Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire Ultimate Edition for the PS4, Worms WMD PS4, The Escapists 2 PS4. Now, on to the PlayStation Plus Premium Classics, we get Ridge Racer 2 for the PSP, sick game, Heavenly Sword PS3, Oddworld Abe's Exodus for the PS1, and finally Pinball Heroes for the PSP. Now, Davey, any of those titles stand out to you? Are you happy with the list Santa has bestowed upon you this Merry Christmas?
All I gotta do is one thing. It's here! Goldberg! I can finally play WWE again! We had such a good time on that free trial, and now we get it for ourselves. We can play that random bloke you played versus Bill Goldberg every night of our lives. It's here. Move over, Call of Duty. Move over, Dead by Daylight. We've got a new contender, and it's for free on Extra. Yeah, I'm excited. I really can't wait. I'm really looking forward to playing WWE again. It's just one of those guilty pleasures, you know, one of those things that I shouldn't love as much as I do. And if anything, for you, Spence, You can learn a handful of wrestlers. So next time this comes up in quick news, you know who you can pick. The other picks on here that I'm very excited for, I already own, which is a damn shame. I bought Far Cry 5, I don't know, about 18 months ago, something like that, for absolutely bugger all on PSN. And I've just had it sitting there. I haven't played it yet. I'm a huge fan of the Far Cry games, believe it or not. But I just haven't played Far Cry 5. It's just like this black hole that I haven't played. I think I went from Far Cry 3, platinumed it, Far Cry 4, platinumed it, and then just 5, I was like, oh, do you know what? I just need a couple of years off. And it's been donkeys now, and I haven't played it. But it's co-op. So this could be a game, Spence, that you and me go through and experience the story together. And I'll be well up for that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'll be well up for that too. Yeah, I had no interest whatsoever, but now my interest is peaked.
Yeah.
100%, yeah.
I think that's something we can check out. And that's the same with Primal and for New Dawn. I haven't played any of those. So I'm up for that. The only other games I think that we had Mortal Shell on PS Plus. I think we were discussing this offline. We had Mortal Shell a while ago on PS Plus, so it's not really a big thing. And as much as I've seen hype about Judgment and Yakuza Like a Dragon, I don't really have the time for those. So unfortunately, Yakuza is going to remain this little black hole in my gaming library that one day I may get to, but not in any time soon. So I think there's some great games here, especially like the Middle-earth Shadows of War and Shadow of Mordor. They're both supposed to be immense. I've seen loads of clips online, you know, with the whole like revenge system, whatever it is, where those random orcs join your team or they don't, or they betray you and all that stuff. And it looks great. Just the idea of like another 30 to 40 hour game at the moment just isn't what I'm into. I do not want any of those. So they're just going to go to the back of the list to one day play, but probably never will. And that's my kind of thoughts on it. But overall, very strong month, very happy with it. And for once, the classic premium games, Ridge Racer 2. Bro, I'm well up for playing some Ridge Racer 2. Ridge Racer 2 is sick. I know Phil's a massive fan of Heavenly Sword, so he'll probably champion that. But yeah, for me, Ridge Racer 2 is just an absolute classic game, an absolute banger. And see the PSP version of that, which is, you know, obviously an upscaled version, bring it on. Well happy to try that out. Just got to hope he's got trophies, which this doesn't confirm or not. But what are your thoughts on this?
Right, well, looking through this list, my favourite game on that list that we're getting for free, you didn't even mention. And that is The Pedestrian, which is a puzzle game in which you're kind of like, you're just a little fella. You're a little fella on a street sign. And that is it. And you just have to try and explore the world. And you explore it moving through street signs and the environment, just solving puzzles. And I love a little puzzle game like that, like Maquette or something. But I've had my eye on The Pedestrian for a long time, but I've just never bought it. Since release, I think I've kind of looked at it and thought, oh, I know I'd love that. I know I'd love that game. But I've never actually played it, and now I get it for free. Well, I get it as part of a membership that I'm paying for. Game Pass. It's not for free. It's not free, you pay, but I get it. And I'm happy to get it. It's a game that I've wanted to play for a long time, so I'm very keen to hop onto that one. And we get a PS5 version too. Oh, baby. And I bet the Platinum's going to be a juicer, mate. Oh, what a time to be alive.
Well, we'll have to have a look at that and see if it is really the milker that we think it will be. And if you rate it, if you come out and you say, yeah, The Pedestrian's great, you know, I'll check it out. You were on fire when it came to Maquette. You know, you're the one who was championing it. Phil was really shitting on it. And so I tried it to see if I'd be, you know, kind of middle road between you both. And I ended up platinuming it and really enjoying my time as well. So, yeah, I'm all up for a good puzzle game. I draw the line when it gets a little bit too hard. But, you know, a nice straightforward puzzle game where it's just nice logic puzzles, all for that. By the way you're Googling around, it looks like as if you're checking up a platinum list here. Do you want to lay it on me?
I am. 100%. 2 hours.
Platinum included?
No.
Oh.
No platinum. You can 100% the game in 2 hours, so it's clearly not a very long game or a very difficult game. But I do still think it will be a fun experience, and I'm still gonna play it and find out. But that is a damn shame.
That is a damn shame.
Damn shame.
Why do games do this, right? This is something we never openly discussed on the show before, but if you're putting a game out, put a platinum on it, for God's sake. It really does just take the wind out of the sails. You know, if you get a game, even if it's really simple, but it's got a platinum, it gives a reason to want to go and 100% it, or it does for me anyway, especially if it's enjoyable, right? Like, I'm not talking about like a My Life is Mayo situation or anything like that. I'm talking about like a game that's actually got a bit of substance. I know, rolling your eyes thinking, oh shit, I've got all 5 of them. Yeah, I just think it's the same way that, titles like Limbo and stuff, they don't have platinums. And you think, come on. Like, that's a game that you'd love to have a platinum for. And yet, none. Game devs, sort the fuck out. Get it in there. Get a platinum in there, for God's sake. It will help player retention, make people come back for more, and they may even just try it. If that was 100% platinum 2 hours, you get way more people just try it just for the platinum, let alone for anything else. You lost out on sales there. That's your bad. But that little tirade on platinums brings quick news to an end. There's no winners. With these Christmas cracker jokes, you're all losers for having to sit through them. So take yourself, if you're listening to this and it's Christmas, pour yourself out a brandy, grab a mince pie, take that shot, shove that mince pie in your eye, and think about what you've put yourself through listening to these Christmas cracker jokes, because the joke's on you, you scumbag slags.
PG, family episode.
Family episode.
Plus eggnog. Eggnog, not brandy, not brandy.
Eggnog.
Drink
Yeah,
some
no,
eggnog.
yeah.
Eggnog, it's the season.
Don't put mince pie in your eye. Probably lose your eye. Anyway.
Yeah, but in your ass.
Let's move it on to the topics. Stop! Topic time! Stop! Topic time! Stop! Topic time!
Triple whammy, oh baby. God. That's right, listeners. I hope you're ready for the topic, because we're twice as ready as you are. Jesus. So, for our topic this evening, we are going to be discussing the Game Awards. We're a little bit late on the topic, but forgive us. Street Fighter 6 came out, so it is what it is.
No,
it had to be.
Come on, Spence. We can't help it. We're a fortnightly podcast. And this year, you managed to get the predictions in just before the Game Awards. What more do you want? We're fortnightly. It's the way the cookie crumbles. And this time we're coming to it like 2 weeks late, because that's how our show runs. It will work out better in the future, I'm sure. This time, wasn't it? But you've all been waiting for it. And Spencer, he's going to reach into his sack and pull out some magic for you right now. I want to lick you up and down.
God damn, he's out of beverage. Oh, did your beer explode?
I think I've done 4 bottles now. I got 1 more left, and they haven't exploded so far. So it's looking ropes, mate. It's looking ropes.
Okay, that's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. Listeners, now you know as well. So, yes, like I said, we're on to the topic. We're discussing the Game Awards show, which Jeff Keighley hosts every single year. We always discuss it, or we have the last 2 years anyway. Carrying on, sticking to the trend. So, first, we're going to go over kind of an overview of the show, kind of how it ran, how we thought it went, the kind of nominees, the winners, the people who got up on the stage, the bit of drama that happened at the end. There's actually quite a lot to discuss. So let's just go for a brief overview first. Top level, Davey, what were your thoughts on the Game Awards this year?
Well, the Game Awards is always a bit of a tricky one, because it goes on for such a long time, and it's hard to fill that space. And so in the past, we've had many a year where there's highlights that come out from it, the likes of Elden Ring, the likes of Atomic Heart will be shown, things like that, Callisto. But you're also swimming through a fuck ton of shit. And it goes on for like 4 hours. And you think, Jesus Christ, I've wasted 4 hours of my life here. Why did I watch this? This year wasn't that. This year, I would argue, is the best year the Game Awards has ever been. And I thoroughly enjoyed it from start to end. There's a moment at the start, which I'm sure we'll discuss in a moment, which was very cringe. In fact, I had my head in my hands at one point. But outside of that, I thought the entire show ran without much of a hitch, and I found it really enjoyable throughout.
I got to echo those thoughts. Yeah, there's definitely 2 moments the show that were very cringe. One very quick, one not so quick. But I'm sure we'll discuss that in just a minute. But yeah, other than that, other than those two little issues, the show was more or less the best it's ever been. The announcements were, for the most part, really good. The awards and the speeches and the guests they had on were all really good. It was just a well-organized show for the most part, and I'm glad that the Game Awards seem to be improving year on year, and I'm excited for next year.
So before we get into ratings, I want to see your rating on his drip. Jeff Keighley always comes out, he's always looking fresh. Absolutely fresh to death. This is the most important thing. This is what Phil will be listening back to the show, and he'll be gutted that he wasn't here to talk about this. So I think we have to raise it to Phil. We have to put this out there for him, for his sake. What's your rating on his drip?
It's true. It's got like Okay. I'm looking at Jeff as we speak. He's basking in his glory. He's almost as big as me, Santa Claus. Almost as big, but not quite. He's closer to Kojima than I am, though. Kojima's on my naughty list. He keeps hiding his games from me. So he's on my naughty list. But Jeff, his drip.
The velour suit.
I think it's
the velour suit.
I think
Does
it's
it
the
work
worst
for you?
I've ever seen. It doesn't.
I
think it's the worst I've seen. The worst. He looks like he's in pajamas, bruv. He looks like he wears that to bed, and then he's got like, it's like a black velvety suit.
Yeah.
White sneakers.
Oh.
White sneakers, bruv.
Oh.
No.
Bro.
I don't think he looks bad. I think he always looks pretty good. But I think that's the worst he's looked at a presentation I've seen.
Oh my God. I'm totally diametrically opposed to you on this view. Because I thought he came out and I thought, shit, that suit's the kind of suit that's like waterproof. You know, water would just fly off that. It's velour, so it shouldn't be. You know, it should soak it right up. That thing will be soft to the touch. And he gets them into he finishes that whole thing, gets backstage, and you know that someone there is going to just rub his suit jacket and he'll be like, because it feels, I bet that velour feels lush, like proper silky, and then goes down and he's all action downstairs, running shoes. So he's got the sneakers on so he can still get into action. So someone says to him, Jeff, let's take it to the bedroom. And he can pick him up and he can run on laminate flooring without the feeling of slipping over. It's a fear in dress shoes. He doesn't have that fear because he's wearing drippy shoes. Bro, I rate this high. I rate his drip high. Would I wear it out? Probably not. But I couldn't pull it off like Jeff.
It's true. I will say, I think the biggest killer for me is he is visibly wearing a lot more makeup than he ever has.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you caught onto that, but
I did.
It's caked, bruv.
Yeah, he is.
Caked. He looks like a girl from Newport.
He does. You know when you wake up and your pillows are ruined, where it's just like foundation all over it, right? And you wake up and instead of this beautiful woman you brought home, you're then waking up to some like half like Phantom of the Opera looking woman, where like half her face, like her makeup's gone, and it's just bright white underneath, where before it was like spray tan orange, and it's just caked all over your bed. And you think you're never gonna get this off, and there's no way you can explain to your mum like that this was you. You know, otherwise she'll think you just shit the bed. But it's just that
you got say like, Mum, I swear I shit the bed.
It's just
it's the only excuse.
Yeah, it's the only one you got. She's like, what's the red?
We're out of toilet paper. I had to wipe with something.
Why'd you use the pillow and mattress for, Spence? I couldn't help it. And all you got around you is you just got like this like semicircle here just around your mouth and your nose where it's just caked in foundation, bro. Yeah. Jeff definitely would give off those vibes. He wouldn't be, it wouldn't be nice. It wouldn't be nice. Plus, you'd have, when he takes it off, you'd have like the totally orange face all caked up, and then the rest of it just bright white. I don't imagine he sees the sun very much when he's planning these things. He's probably inside all the time. So that would be a look. Strong lights, strong studio lights, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it is. Plus also it's like the quality of video is just getting better and better year after year. And because this now is full HD, you can see everything. You can see all the things you couldn't see in pixels. So it's not great. I mean, he still looked good. He still looked great, and he's gonna continue to look great. He's trying to look young. He's still trying to look young. To be fair, give Phil 10 years, I think, and he'll be caked in makeup as well.
Yeah, he already is for the show.
Yeah, I was going to say 10 years is a push.
Yeah, his skin is essentially see-through at this point, so he wears enough there that he doesn't look vampiric. And that's all we can ask for on the show, you know? We want to have a reflection for him, for God's sake. So what would you rate, Spence, both his drip out of 10 and then the wider show out of 10?
I would rate Jeff at a 6 because he does still look good. He does still very much look good. And you're right, there's some practicality in the outfit. 100% some practicality. But the amount of makeup and the choice of suit and the shoes combo, not for me. Not for me. That suit is luxurious. If you came out with dress shoes, it'd fly up to a 10. But it's the mix. It's the mix of wearing such a luxurious suit with such casual shoes. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't fly. But the show, I think I would probably rate the show just an 8. I'm not going to say any higher than an 8 because I'd like to see the future. I think we've got better things to announce and better awards to give in the future, and Sifu got snubbed. So I'm sticking with an 8.
An 8, okay. Well, I think for Jeff, I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. I thought it was very drippy. I really respected it for all the reasons I've given. His business up top, his pleasure and performance underneath. And I'm all about that. And I got to say that Sydney Goodman, who presented the pre-show before it went up and came intermittently for different awards, absolutely amazing presenter. Like, I'm always shitting on the presenters that are shown here. And it wasn't just because she was gorgeous, because she was, but she was just had so much character, and I really enjoyed every time she was on screen. She was great. I thought she did a really, really good job. And that's something that so far from these Game Awards, I don't think I've ever laid any praise out for anyone. I think I've always said, like, this shit, it's not very good, it's really cringy. But I thought she was really natural. I thought she did a great job. Yeah, I thought she was fantastic. For me, the overall thing, I'd probably give it an 8.5. And that's mainly because it's carried by a couple of major announcements in here, which just I did not expect.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, 8.5 makes sense. It does make sense. And there were some, like you said, some stellar announcements that we got throughout the show.
So, Spence, before we get into what was actually shown here and we go through our Shag, Marry, Kill list, which is how we do this list, predictions. The last episode, we gave a number of predictions for things that we thought may come true, and we always put them down into safe, possible, and crazy predictions. Now, we didn't have much luck, you and me. So, just to give you a reminder for the audience, mine were, my safe was Elden Ring DLC. We got an update in the Colosseum update that went live a couple of days after the Game Awards. I'm not even going to count that myself. It's not what I was envisioning. I was envisioning it to be a full-on, like, brand new area or brand new story-based content. It wasn't that. So I'm not giving myself a point for that one. Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake. Unfortunately, we didn't see Metal Gear Solid in any capacity, which was a damn shame. And of course, Resistance gameplay. Resistance shown in any capacity. Again, Sony, you're fucking me over here. Insomniac even shared a post out today, or yesterday, whatever it was, which was a Christmas calendar that was Resistance themed. And I remember I quote tweeted and said, "My balls are blue." Like, this is ridiculous. You're doing me every time. It was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. Now, if you can't remember yours, it doesn't matter too much, Spence, because spoiler alert, you didn't get any either. But yeah. Do you remember what any of yours were?
All I remember is that, yeah, I remember my crazy being Pragmata, and my safe, I can't remember what it was, but I remember when I said it, you were like, that's such a good one. That's such a good one.
Yeah. I remember that pretty much all of yours and all of Phil's, I was like, oh, they're going to happen. They're going to happen. And they didn't. But speaking of Mr. Philip Hoy, and he's going to be eating humble fucking pie for this, and we're going to feel it because we're 2 episodes away from the big quiz. So some of these shots got to be given out at some point. Phil has earned himself 3 shots as a result of this, because he predicted it is crazy, which is fucking insane, that Death Stranding 2 would be announced. And I remember at the time, I listened back to the last episode and I was like, no fucking way. There is no shot, Phil. That is insane. It's never going to happen. And then what happened? I watched the show, Death Stranding 2 gets announced, and my face went from super, super hype to realization that I'm going to be in for these. I know I am. He's not going to pick on you. I'm done, mate. My ticket has been punched. The only saving grace is that I've still got 5 shots to hand out from the big quiz that I've got there that I can hand out at any point. So if I get picked on for this, you're going to be getting it. I'm going to pick.
If you're getting picked on, pick on him.
Shit goes downhill. Shit goes downhill. I'm planning on to you, and then Phil can have my other 2.
By.
It's the way the cookie crumbles, my friend. So I'm just putting that out there, Philip Hoy, when you listen back to this. Don't come for me. I got ammo. And even though I've said I'd pick on Spence, you don't know that for sure. Anyway, let's move the show on. That's our predictions. Again, as always, in typical In PS We Trust fashion, we can't guess a single goddamn thing right if our life is on the line. But in terms of the games that were shown in the announcements that were there, Spence, we always break this down into our shag, marry, and kills. And because we don't have a third person there to add 3 others, I think we'll spice it up a little bit. We'll have 2 shags, a marry each, and a kill. But if there are any more we want to discuss, we'll go into them from there. Let's go for it.
So, listeners and my little elf, my first shag of the evening. I think I'm going to give it, you might not be happy, no, you shouldn't care about this actually. I think I'm going to give it to Hades 2, because when I first played Hades 1, massive praise. I was like, this game's sick, and it's a stellar game. It has a very large audience. Everyone loves it. People said it got robbed for Game of the Year when Last of Us 2 won. Fucking didn't. Last of Us 2 was exceptional. It deserved the Game of the Year. My opinion on Hades, the more I've been away from it, has soured to no extent. It's like, or it's soured beyond. It's continued to be a worse game, in my opinion, as the days have gone by. And I know if I revisited it, I would feel the same, because it's just a loop of gameplay that never evolves and never adapts. And sure, you can make it more challenging for yourself by adding the challenges that they provide in the game. But really, it's just the same game every single run. And it doesn't change unless you change your weapon. And if you change your weapon, it changes 2 of your moves. It's not great. A good game, fantastic story, and it's got this kind of thing where you will never, even after like 200 hours in the game, you will never hear the same line of dialogue twice. It's great. Awesome. Combat-wise, I think it just got dull really quick, and once I put it down, it's not like God of War or Last of Us Part 1 or anything like that where I go back to it after a week. I have not gone back to Hades, and I probably never will. But Hades 2 is the kind of game, it's not my marry, but I'll buy it. I'll probably buy it when it comes out, and I'll probably, tell you what, give it a little shag. Ooh, there you go, a little freebie. Bumped into you. Nice. Hope you're grateful. Santa, usually only comes once a year, but apparently this time he's coming twice. So, yeah, Hades 2 is my choice, and hopefully it will be good. It looks very good. It just kind of has to be equal or hopefully better than the first game. And that qualifies it for a shag for me. But Davey, passing it over to you. Who is going to be your first seductress of the evening?
Spencer, I appreciate you chucking that back to me. It's a tough list because there was some really good stuff shown here on this. So to narrow it down to such a small level is quite difficult. I'm finding it quite a hard thing. I think, and this is going to be really wild. I know this is going to be wild. The one that I popped off over, but not enough to quite make the marry list, Remnant 2. I had such a great time in Remnant 1 with you and Phil. I had such a great time. And to see Remnant 2 coming out and it to look the level that it does blew me away. I thought, yes, this is the game. Remnant's the one game where I think you, me, and Phil playing Call of Duty or whatever, and I think we should just go back and just platinum this game. Like, we had so much fun with it. Why aren't we going back and playing it? So to see Remnant 2 there, I did not see it. It blew me out from... I just did not have this on my radar at all. Very impressed by what was shown. And judging from the gameplay that was there in Remnant 1, which already was such a hit for us, fuck yeah, sign me up. I'll shag the absolute shit out of this. I'll put this through the headboard. I'm well up for this, and I can't wait to experience it with you guys, which I think is where this game will shine. And to be able to get into it day one, to be able to see the content roll out like they have supported it with Remnant 1. This has so much support, so many different DLC packs. I think if we get in there day one, we can have a great experience. So it's straight into my shag list. Can't wait to see more from it. Do you have any thoughts on that one at all?
Mate, I got loads of thoughts. Mate, Remnant, bruv. It would have been mine. If you didn't take it, it probably would have been my next one. Or even possibly my Mary. Because, like you said, we had such a fantastic time with the first game. And it is very much the game where every now and then we're like, what should we play? What should we play, mate? Or what do you want to play tonight? We never say Remnant, ever. And we really, really should. Because that game is so sick. And we're actually so close to the platinum as well. And it wouldn't even take a lot of effort. Granted, the game's hard. And we'd be going back to it after like a year. So I'm not sure how we'd fare in the game. But if I teach you my Zen ways, I'm sure we could do well. And sick game, man. Yeah, literally. We're double teaming it, bro. Double teaming it.
Triple teaming it. Phil's definitely in for that one. It's a great time. It's a great time. And I think us as a podcast will really enjoy that when that one comes out. So your second shag, what's the next lucky lady who's getting picked for you?
This one's a very weird one. And I don't know if you're going to let it slide. But
go on.
My second is kind of like it's a reverse prostitute.
So you pay her.
Right.
So she pays you for you playing her.
So usually you sleep with them and then you have to pay.
Yeah.
Well, my second shag is Forspoken, the demo.
What?
Because I slept with it and then it saved me 60 quid. So I'm quite grateful for that. Tell you what, if that never came out, I'd have been 60 quid gone. So I'm buzzing. I mean, as much as it wasn't a fantastic time, reverse prostitute, mate, came through when I needed her the most. Saved me that bag.
I got to admit, like when I saw that the announcement that Forspoken was coming as part of that, I popped off. I thought, hell yeah, I can't wait to try this out. I haven't yet, obviously, but yeah, I think it was a great announcement at the time for the Game Awards itself. And update, I've left it too long. It hasn't fizzed, so everything's come out Millhouse on this episode of MPS We Trust. Which is a great time all round. Great choice though, Spencer. Really appreciate that one. Really, really good. For my second shag, and this is one that I think, unless you're in the survival horror community, this probably would have passed you by. But a game that could quite easily contend for my Mary list. And my Mary list is very, very tough this time. That is a game called Post Trauma. It's a classic survival horror style game. With fixed camera angles, you're walking along, it looks very much like Silent Hill. And for me, it ticked all the boxes. I saw this and immediately went into overdrive, following them on Twitter, looking at everything that they've put out so far for the game, and messaging the devs and saying, look, I want to be involved with this. I want to cover this. I want to look at it. I want all the information you've got, because this is the kind of game like Tormented Souls was for me a couple of years ago, that just looked like a breath of fresh air in the survival horror genre. And especially coming off something like Callisto, where it didn't quite perform as much as I wanted it to. The indie space is where survival horror is living to levels beyond seen in AAA. It's where the best games generally are. And everything about this just sings to me. So it had to be included on my list, and I cannot wait to give you more information when I receive it, either from the devs or just as a consumer myself, because I'm definitely going to be buying this day one. 100% is straight up my line of thinking here. Did you check this one out?
I did, mate. 100% I did. And honestly, I kind of forgot about it until you just brought it up again. And the second you mentioned it, the memories came flooding back. And when I watched it, I was like, oh, it's the game that can't be mentioned one. Literally. Well, the first three, but I've only played, I played the remakes for 2 and 3. I'm a bit of the way through 3 on my Vita. But I was like, oh my God, it's back. Survival horror. The original survival horror is back. What a time to be alive, man. We get the renaissance. It's the renaissance of survival horror. Oh, what a great time. Yeah. I'm mega excited for this game. It's definitely a day one for me as well. Or if not, then just please buy it digitally. But if you don't, I'll borrow it off you afterwards anyway. But I would quite like, because it's an indie dev, I'd quite like to support them. So I probably will end up buying this game. And if I do, it will 100% be day one. This game looks sick. It looks right up our alley. Look right up this entire show's alley.
Yeah, so, yeah, it really is. It really 100%. Is. So yeah, look forward to giving you some more information about that when we get there. Now, we got a load of games here that any of us could bring up at any point. Our Mario list is down to 1, which is very harsh. I think we might need to look at extending this because there's so many games here that we could talk about. I'm up for taking it to 2 Marys, so we got 2 of each. If you want to, and 1 bin, because there's a couple of games here that I know we're not going to end up talking about that deserve to have at least a mention. Are you up for extending it to 2 Marys? I mean, it won't be a typical relationship, but we'll make it work. You know, we'll have maybe one you live with Monday to Wednesday and the other one you live with for the rest of the week. Maybe it's a shared thing, which sounds like the worst existence known to man. 2 wives?
Yeah.
Nobody wants that. 1's enough. Speaking from experience here, 1's enough to keep you on your toes. You don't want 2. You definitely don't want 2.
1's too much, bro.
Well, let's extend it up by 2, because I think we're never going to cover off some of these absolute bangers that are here. Give me your first Mary.
Okay. I do agree, by the way. I do think 2 is fair. I'm a bit concerned on what you might choose. I think I know which 2 you're going to choose. So I'm going to try to stray away from them. Stray. The game I'm going to choose as my first Mary is going to be Diablo 4. And now, granted, like we said earlier, we played the Diablo 2 beta and it was gash. However, we've both also sunk hundreds of hours into Diablo 3. And Diablo 3 was stellar. Absolutely fantastic. And Diablo 4, uffed. They've shown it. It looks sick. It looks a bit slower, but I'm hoping that's just the trailers they've shown, not the actual game. I'm mega excited for Diablo 4. My friend that I played Diablo 3 with on PC, we played the entire game and then some together. Well, we beat the entire game like 6 times, probably more. He keeps talking to me. Every time I bump into him or we're in Discord together, he's always like, when's Diablo 4 out, mate? When are we playing Diablo 4? I'm like, well, when it's out? I don't know. But as soon as it's out, we're playing it. It's 100% a day one for me. I'm going to marry it. And if it's anywhere near as good as Diablo 3, I'm going to sink time into that game.
That's the game I think that will bring everyone together. Because me and my wife, we became a married couple thanks to Diablo. I think if it wasn't for Diablo, we would not be together. Because we met, we were dated for a while, we moved in together. And we were kind of doing our own thing. Like I was playing PS3, she was playing PC. And then Diablo came out on PlayStation. I said, oh, well, you haven't played Diablo. Should we play it together? And that was it. That was literally like a year and a half of our life. Every night we'd come in and it would be playing online on Diablo. And I had a group of mates that would play with us and we'd be just out adventuring. And we put on PS3 alone, I think we put like, I don't know, 600 hours in. And then PS4, when that version came out, we bought it again. We played it for another couple of 100 hours. And it was just sick. It was just so sick. And I know that she's gone on to buy Diablo now on the Switch. She bought it on PC. She's literally bought Diablo 3 on every single platform I think that you can buy it on. And Diablo 4, it means we could play crossplay, surely. So I could say to my wife and her mates, oh, join me, Spencer and Phil, or whoever else wants to join. Let's all go out together. Let's just do a raid together. It'd be class. And I could play there as my barbarian, because I only play barbarian exclusively. And, we'll just go and have a great time. I cannot fucking wait for Diablo. It's one of my most anticipated games of next year, 100%. And it's one of the games that I think is going to be hard to balance when you've got that Street Fighter, everything else in the mix. It's going to be a tough call, but I think we can do it. And Diablo is one of those games that you can pick up and play. So, yeah, cannot wait. Cannot wait. Great choice, Spence.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. It's definitely a community game. It's definitely one that's going to bring us all together. You're 100% right. And it might do the same for me and Georgia that it's done for you and your wife. Well, let's see. I mean, probably not. She pisses me off a lot. We'll find out. But yeah, moving on. Your first marry, my friend. What is it going to be?
So, as I said, this is hard. And I've already increased it up to 2 to try and fit things in. But the first is a game that has been heavily rumoured for a long time. Heavily rumoured, and we've been expecting to see something for it. And it was finally shown and officially announced here at the Game Awards. And that is a little game called Judas, which is Ken Levine's next game, the creator of BioShock and BioShock Infinite. Ghost Story Games, their first game they're putting out. Fuck me. Everything about this, sign me up. It looks amazing. I love the graphical style. It's essentially BioShock again. It's exactly the same thing. She was injecting like Eve into her arm and getting powers. It's just BioShock, but by Ken Levine, but not called BioShock. Fine. Absolutely fine by me. I cannot wait. This is one of my most anticipated games of all time. BioShock is in my top 5, 100%. It's one of the best games I've ever played in my entire life. And to see Ken Levine have another crack, they've been working on this for a long time. Apparently there's been a lot of development issues with it because he's such a perfectionist. I can't wait to see what that perfectionist mentality brings to this game, because there's a couple of creators out there that are the cream on top. Ken Levine, Kojima, they're fucking like the big fucking wigs. They're the guys that you scrape that cream off and you enjoy that cream first. You spread it on a nice little bit of a muffin or scone and you enjoy that shit before you get to the milk, which is the rest of the gaming category. And bro, milk me up, cream me the fuck up, because I want this Judas game in my life. Yes, please. I popped off. I watched this live, the Game Awards, and it was like 2 a.m, something like that. I literally stood up. I was like, let's fucking go! I was so into it. And my wife's ringing me, you just woken your son up. Like, bitch, this is Judas. Simmer down.
You did say bitch, though?
No. yeah. But yeah, man. So in for this. I cannot wait. Cannot wait. So Spencer, there's too many beautiful women out there that you could marry, but you're on your final choice of the evening. Which little lady are you taking home and you're putting a ring on?
Right, I'll tell you what, she ain't a little lady. She's a 6'2", absolute model, grade A stunner, fam. She's the kind of woman who would never pay me any attention. So I don't know how I'm going to wing this, but I'm taking her home, trust me. And that game, I've not even played the original game, so I'm sure it's going to come as a shock to you. But I'm going to be choosing Jedi Survivor.
Ah, okay. All right, nice. Great choice. What's made you pick this?
Well, mostly because, right, this is a double whammy for me. Absolute double whammy. Jedi Survivor looks sick. It looks sick, and I know the first game is really good. You played it and went on about it for ages saying it was great. You did have issues with it, with traversal and stuff. But I know you thought, all in all, it was a fantastic game. And it's been on my list for a very, very, very long time. So in order for me to marry Jedi Survivor, it's technically 2-in-1 because I have to play the original before I play this. So I'm getting 2 beautiful, sensual, sexually active women for the price of 1. And what a great time that is. So yeah, I'm mega keen for Jedi Survivor, mate. Absolutely mega keen.
I gotta say, when I heard the announcement that they were going to be bringing Jedi to the Game Awards, because they announced it pre-Game Awards show, I was excited to see more. And they delivered 100%. Because, as you said, the things that I had an issue with were mostly kind of like the back-end stuff. The exploration was quite difficult to do. The map was shit. It wasn't that much fun to go back to these areas. But in terms of the combat, the actual story that was told, excellent. The ending of that game is fucking immense. So good. I really enjoyed it. Great little time. So to be able to go back and see that you're riding mounts, that you're flying around with little creatures, it looks sick. To have Cal's dual lightsabers in there, amazing. See those return. Yeah, this is a day one for me, 100%. I was blown away when I played the game. I really enjoyed it. It wasn't a game that was like, game of the year or anything like that, but it was a great experience. And that's all you want from a game, especially from a Star Wars game, which I know Phil wouldn't be overly happy with this. He's not a Star Wars head like I am, but I'm all for this. And to see a lightsaber with a crossguard, you know how much I love Kylo Ren. I got Kylo Ren's lightsaber on my wall. I love the crossguard. I'll be rocking a crossguard day and night. I am so down for this. It's going to be a great time. It really is. And to be able to lend you the first Jedi game, I think you'll have a great time with it. Get God of War done. It's next up after that. I'll lend it to you.
Well, Callisto. It's not.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got Callisto. Yeah. Callisto, you'll get Callisto done in an afternoon. That's an afternoon. And after
then
that,
I got a Platinum Stray, and then I've got a finished Last of Us. Then,
okay.
Then I also bought Alan Wake Remastered.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
and then you got to fit it in with 2023 lineup. Okay.
Yep.
Might be a bit ropes, but I think you can figure it out. It's not a massively long game, so you can make time for it. And I think it will be worth your time because you enjoy the Dark Souls kind of style combat, which this does lean into. So I think you will find a deeper appreciation for it by trying it. And you have to play it before you play the second one. You have to. The story is, incumbent on you doing that.
I'll try. I'll 100% try. And I'm keen. I'm very much looking forward to it. I do need to clear my backlog first, but I will get to it when I can. I have until March 17th. So, to be fair, not a lot of time. Not a lot of time at all. Not with the amount of games I need to play. And the game's coming out early next year. But yeah, that is it for my Mary. Davey, passing it back to you again. Your second seductress for the evening. Who's it going to be?
Now, this is the hardest of them all. Because there's two games here which blew my tits off. But I can only fit one in. Those two games are Final Fantasy 16 and Death Stranding 2. My vote on this is going to Final Fantasy 16. I know, that is wild. That is absolutely wild, isn't it? You did not expect that coming.
I get you leaving Death Stranding for Phil, mate, but that's outrageous.
For me, Final Fantasy 16 trailer coming out on June 22nd, I've seen everything I need to see for that game to know it's a day one, 70-plus hour game that I'm going to sweat and I'm going to love every single minute of it. Every part of that trailer looked epic, like truly epic. And this is a big deal for me. Final Fantasy is it's a franchise that when I was in the PS1 era was king for me. It was up there with Metal Gear, right? Like Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, 10. I sweated the fuck out of those games. I loved them. And then for some reason, I just stepped away when we went into like the Lightning kind of era. For Final Fantasy, when Final Fantasy like at 12 13. Or whatever it was, 13, all that stuff. Stepped away from all that. And then I kind of got pushed back in with FF7 Remake. And of course, we got the second part of that coming out next year as well, which is insane. Double dose of Final Fantasy in 1 year. I am all in for this. I'm a day one Final Fantasy fan in June, which is the same kind of time that Street Fighter is coming out. So I've got to somehow balance a massive RPG and getting my grind on Street Fighter. And that's what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to somehow find a way to do it, because this game looks like it's going to be the biggest fucking game out at that time. It's going to be insane. Like, literally anything that Sony puts out, it's a good thing that Spider-Man's been pushed, because honestly, this game could contend with Spidey. This game's going to be fucking huge. It's going to be massive. I haven't seen anyone say anything bad about it. And to have a game where you've got the scale and the job system, which is in from earlier Final Fantasy games, to be kind of brought back into this, it seems like it's catering to all different levels of fan for Final Fantasy. And it just speaks to me on every single level. And I never expected that. Death Stranding is an easy day one purchase that will become one of my favourite games of all time. I know it will, in Death Stranding 2. But that's a given. To have a Final Fantasy game which has captured my attention to the way this has is unbeknownst to me. That I haven't felt this way about this kind of title since my early teens. I am so in for this. And even though it's crazy that I'm not putting Death Stranding 2 up when Death Stranding 1 is probably my second or third favourite game from the PlayStation 4 generation, a game from Kojima, who I adore, who I absolutely love, and sweated Death Stranding. To not have that up there shows how much and how passionate I am about this new Final Fantasy game. And I cannot wait. I just cannot wait to have it in my hands. I really can't. And I feel kind of the same way that you do, Spence, with a lot of games where I don't need to see any more. I'm sold. Like, I'm done. I don't need to know anymore. I know it's a day one. I know I'm going to be buying it. I know I'm going to be enjoying it. And so that's why it's made it on the list above Death Stranding, which obviously would be very closely tied into getting to this married list, because it's a very competitive time. And you got to bear in mind, neither of us have put Street Fighter 6 in here, which is our most anticipated game of the year. So it's there's a lot of things that kind of go into this list, and I'm kind of putting shine on things that I probably wouldn't put as much shine on otherwise. But it definitely deserves a marry list, and it's definitely one of the biggest games that's coming out of 2023. And somehow PlayStation have got that as an exclusive on their console. So well done. Because that game, you do not want to get in the fucking way of that, I'm telling you now.
It's true. It's true. I'll tell you what, I didn't include Street Fighter because it was pre-show. So I thought, I'll tell you what, I'll stick with main shows. And I'm happy. Yeah. I mean, I don't feel the same for FF16 as you do. I'm sure it's going to be great. I might play it, but I'm not actually overly excited. It looks fantastic. I'm sure it will be good, but other than FF7 and its spin-offs, I'm not that keen on the Final Fantasy universe. So, or multiverse, I suppose.
I don't know how it works. They're all separate worlds, I assume. I don't think a part of multiverse. I mean, you could probably say they are, but does it add anything to the game? No. You don't need everything to be a multiverse these days. Just because Marvel does it. Just leave it out. James Gunn, don't do it for DC. He will. But yeah, so that's our list for our marries. And of course, I have left Death Stranding there, hoping that Phil will pick that up on the next episode. And what will be interesting is that next episode, we'll start the show off by asking Phil what his top 3 highlights were, his list, and he gives me 2 music games in this. I will skin him alive on the show, because there's too many games that we haven't given the light of day to, which deserve it. So if I hear about this orchestra in that top 3, holy Jesus, there's going to be hell to pay. But that would be our next episode, in episode 59. Spencer, what are you killing off?
Death Stranding 2, no, imagine. I think my kill. And it's nothing to do with this game. It's actually nothing to do with this game. Kill the Justice League. Suicide Squad.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
Whoa,
Yeah.
Why? Why are you putting that in your kill list?
Just because of that. I honestly can't remember what it's called. That Gotham game that just came out. What was it?
Gotham Knights. Arkham
Gotham
Knights,
Knights,
whatever
there
it
we go.
was. or Arkham Knights, Gotham Knights, whatever it was.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Gotta be Gotham Knights. Yeah, just because I'm DC games at the minute, not high expectations. I'm just gonna check it down right now. It might be great, but
the last
still
appearance
haven't
of
seen gameplay.
that is very worrying. I completely agree with you on that. It's very worrying at this stage. I mean, the last appearance of Kevin Conroy as Batman, that's a big deal. I mean, it's very sad. And seeing him in the trailer that was shown there, I thought it was a great trailer. Personally, I thought the trailer banged. You know, having that, I thought it was the first time the humor really showed, where Captain Boomerang's going to kill Flash and he like stabs him and stuff. I thought it all worked really well for me. I thought it was great. Seeing Batman come down and he's like, he don't kill people. And he just kills that guard immediately. I was like, oh shit, this is hype. But you're right. With this far in now, this many delays, still no proper in-depth gameplay. It does put up red flags.
Yeah. Kill me. Kill the Justice League. No, just kill the game. Kill the Suicide Squad. That's what they got to do. Nice trailer. You're right. Nice trailer. Good little memorial. Didn't show gameplay. So, yeah, gone, mate.
Oof, fair dues. Well, to round this out, my last one. There's a lot of games that could go here. And this one is going to be controversial. I'm going to set the audience on fire here. There's a little game which we've joked about on the show as being revealed a number of times. And I didn't want it. I know Mr. Philip Hoy popped off over in the States when he saw this. When he was on the plane, they had Category 9 storms going on because he was making some kind of explosion on that plane, and it was just chaos. It's a game by FromSoft. It's a game called Armored Core. Armored Core was never good. It was never good. Just because you like FromSoft, don't try and pretend that they are faultless. I played Armored Core, whatever the fuck it was, with Phil one time, and it was shit. It was awful. There is nothing here to show that this will be good just because it's developed by FromSoft. It's a fucking Gundam game where they're called Armored Cores. Who gives a shit? This was shown as the big thing, and I literally, I remember thinking, Twitter ain't gonna go mad for this fucking Armored Core. No one even talks about Armored Core. And then everyone's like, I love FromSoft, this Armored Core's back, baby. It's like, you didn't buy it. There's a reason why they didn't make it, because no one fucking bought it. Because it's gash. Fucking kill it off. If I'm wrong about this, then it's a Davey was wrong moment. I'll take that, right? FromSoft have learned a lot. They become top tier developers that people, they got big swinging dick, right? Stay out of their way. It's Armored Core fucking 6, whatever it is. It's called Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. I can't sound any more like a virgin than I am right now. Do yourself a favor. Just wait until you see it, all right? Wait until you see it. We saw some fucking pre-alpha fucking footage, some random bollocks. You're not going to be getting Dark Souls level combat in an Armored Core game. It's going to be little robots flying about, you're shooting them from the sky, and you're in a Gundam. If you want that, cool. It's not the second coming of Christ, okay? It's fucking Armored Core. Rant over.
No comment, mate. No comment whatsoever. I've never played Armored Core. I've never seen Armored Core, and I'm glad I haven't, because my opinion of FromSoft is purely based on the Soulsborne series, and they're perfect. They're perfect. Well, they're not perfect. They're far from perfect.
They're pretty
fantastic development. I mean, Dark Souls 2. They're very close to perfect development studio. Armored Core, I don't need it to tarnish their reputation in my eyes. So I'm dead. It never existed and it never will. So it doesn't exist. I can't believe you mentioned a game that was never shown.
I know Mr. Hoy will be spinning in his chair right now while he listens to this back on the plane ride home. But that's my fighting words, Phil. Bring it on next episode. And speaking on next episode, listener, if you got a problem with me, you're going straight on my naughty list, baby. And the only way I'm going to know that you got a problem with me is by writing into the show. pswetrust@gmail.com. You can reach out to us on any of our socials. We're on there. Go on to Twitter @InPSWeTrust. Reach us out to us on the Reddit. Everything will be in the description of the show. Find us all there. And let me know. Is Armored Core actually the best thing ever? Have I just not given it a chance because it just exudes virgin energy? Maybe I'm completely off on this. Who knows? Only way to tell me is by writing in and letting me know. And that brings our little show to an end, Spencer. So we've done a duet today instead of a threesome. It's I don't know if you has it got any? Have you got anything for a triplet? Is that a thing?
I quite like threesome, mate.
Threesome. So instead of our typical threesome format, we've done a duosome. We've been missionary on this, and I've really enjoyed the show. It's been a nice vibe with yourself, Spencer. I've enjoyed our Christmas cracker jokes. Audience,
And you, Davey.
I hope that you've enjoyed the show. If you have, best way to do it, best way to let us know, put a 5-star review. All you have to do, you're on Spotify, you're looking at the podcast, thinking, oh, that's a lovely little art of Kratos on there, and half of it wearing a beanie hat. Oh, what's that? It's a follow button, and there's a star. Click that star, click 5, and fuck off. Because that's all we need you to do, right? There's not enough of you doing it. And I know you're listening to the show to this point because I see the analytics. Go on there, put a star on it, and thank you ever so much. And I really... never come back, you scum. And that's it, really. And if you're on YouTube, of course, you'll be looking at us with our Santa hats on. If you want to see my Santa hat get truly erect, then the best way to do that is, of course, put in a like and a subscribe on the YouTube. Put a comment below if you really want to do it. I don't know why these go on so long. Right, I'm gonna end the show. These are just getting fucking ridiculous. I've been Davey.
I've been Spencer.
Take care, guys.
Peace.
It's not the same, is it?
No.
In PS We Trust is hosted by Davey, Phil, and Spencer. You can write into the show via our email, pswetrust@gmail.com. Our Twitter is @InPSWeTrust. To find each of us online, follow our Twitters, @SSJDavey, @PhilipHoy, @SpenPie_. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. See ya.